Hey, welcome to an impromptu Q&A podcast. We've never done one of these.
How come you don't answer all the questions?
That's actually a question we have gotten a lot. We do the open house show, and we don't answer all the questions, so we're actually working towards that. But since Fallout 4 got officially announced, Lawrence got super excited and threw the script together of all your guys' questions on our subreddit.
Real quick, this whole concept basically came about. I produce open house, and
You do?
I do, and a lot of people have said in the past, it's a vocal minority, but a lot of people have said, so many questions go unanswered. You only end up answering 6 questions. They're all jokes.
Out of hundreds.
Yeah. And my response to that is, because you know basically everything about us already. You can sift through an encyclopedia of previous questions and answer shows.
But I asked it.
But this person wants to know specifically.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do another show where we can actually answer as many questions as possible because we have more time.
Good idea, James.
Yeah.
And like all of our shows, there's always many steps. This is the first of many to come. So you'll be seeing Bruce and Lawrence popping in and out. But for now, I guess for those who don't know us, I'm Adam.
And I'm Sean, or Spool.
What is it? You'd have to decide right now.
Spool.
All right.
That's just Spool.
And I'm James.
Anyway, so we're going to just go through all the questions. First one's from Oxus. He's asking, these are all Fallout questions, by the way. That's because of the Fallout thing. And we're playing New Vegas, that's why. So anyway, his question is, assuming the character shown at the end of the trailer is the player character, how do you feel about the possibility of the player character talking? That was the little Troy Baker voice we heard at the end. I don't know. I mean, I guess am I the biggest Fallout fan in the room?
I've played New Vegas. I never beat 3 because it made me nauseous.
Okay.
I never beat 3. I never played New Vegas.
Okay. I mean, for those who don't know, Fallout, you're always a silent protagonist. Or at least in 3 and New Vegas, those are the ones I assume people are most familiar with. And so at the end of the trailer, you hear Troy Baker being like, "Come on, boy." The rumor is that you play as a male character. You can't change your gender until like halfway through the game or something like that.
Rebel.
I imagine there's like a sex change or something like that. But I'm indifferent. I don't know. I mean, video games have been doing that for years.
Can we play as the dog, though?
I in most situations like this, I think, all right, well, what does it mean to be a silent protagonist? Because technically in the Fallout franchise, you are not a silent protagonist. You are talking all the time. You just don't hear your character's audio because it's supposed to be you.
You're holding up a cue card with words on it.
It's not the same thing as, say, Link, who doesn't actually speak to anyone.
Right.
Like, he just stands there. Occasionally you'll pick, like, do you want to proceed? Yes or no. But, like, for the most part, people just talk at him. And then he just kind of reacts. And how does it sound like when he jumps? And so
you, Link?
To me, there's no difference between a main character not saying anything or a Commander Shepard, who is, I'm going to pick what Commander Shepard's going to say, and then he's going to say it. Like, it doesn't really matter to me.
I don't think it's going to be huge. Either way, I kind of, I trust Bethesda that they're not going to stray too far from the path that they've created for themselves in these games where I don't think your character is going to talk the whole time, probably. Like through all the dialogue trees and stuff like that.
One of my least favorite things about these games is you enter into a conversation, right? Hit talk right now.
I'm
just talking to you. But when you enter into a conversation, it just does this thing where you just go, and it just zooms in, and it's a close-up of their face.
Don't your eyes do that, though? Mine do that in real life.
Well, I
kind of fixed it with Skyrim.
I like the Mass Effect thing, where it's like, I'm going to have a conversation, and then it switches to, like, conversation mode, and then you kind of, like, it looks like a dialogue sequence in a movie, and then I kind of mentioned this before. Yeah, well, I don't like this. I kind of mentioned it before, but I like that, like, you have a created character, you probably want to see it. You have badass armor, you want to see your character.
Yeah, but this is more about, I guess, the main character you playing as is actual, an actual character, as opposed to the person you have created. It's one of those things that it's a wait and see for that, because I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it.
I also think it goes back to Mass Effect again. You can make your main Mass Effect character look like anything you wanted to. He would just always sound the same way. He or she would always sound the same way. But it didn't feel like you were removing anything from the game.
Good. Okay, we're only on our second question. This is from Zeker. What are your opinions on the leak post from about 11 months ago and how the community reacted to it? Have you guys seen all this?
Yeah. Is he asking how they reacted to it now or then?
I guess both. Yeah. I mean, I I guess I remember reading some of it. I just remember the Boston stuff, really. If you haven't seen it, the leak is basically, I used to work for Bethesda and I got fired for leaking stuff, so here's even more.
So I'm angry, so I'm going to leak stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. What are your opinions on the leak?
I don't. There's the glaring error. Everyone's like, it all checks out, except for the leak said it was coming to 360 and PS3, I believe.
Which could have been the case 11 months ago.
Yeah, it could have been the case 11 months ago. That could have changed. Though, right in the trailer, it just says Xbox One, PS4, and PC,
Two bears high-fiving.
I was going to say it's
That's definitely
high-fiving, but that's not a choice. Bearded man.
But, so as far as the leak goes, I mean, I don't know. Like, we are obviously
I don't really have
steeped in rumors.
I don't have an opinion on it. I mean, I like leaks in general. I think everyone likes leaks, especially if they turn out to be legitimate, because then you feel like you learned a little something and you got in on the inside and you're paying attention enough to be like, we got them. But like if they turn out to be fake, everyone's kind of like let down, like, oh, like the Nintendo thing.
I remember getting a really early look at Saints Row 3. We got to go check out the studio and see the game it was in like alpha, like super early development. And I remember one of the developers in the room was like, yeah, so here's all the stuff, and this is gonna, you'll see some of this in some of the deathmatch levels. And one of the other developers goes, oh no, we're cutting out deathmatch, it's only co-op. He goes, we are? Oh, we should get on that. It was like things change, obviously, in development. So what was true 11 months ago probably wasn't true now. But a lot of that stuff seemed to be very on the nose, and some of it seems to be coming true. I think the one thing he said in there was that the game is coming out October 2015. She. Yeah. They. I always assume they're all deep.
Sandra Reed, I think was the name.
Put their name out there. That's crazy.
Well, that was also one of the things. It was like, look me up. You can find me in Bethesda's employment roster.
I am a human.
I don't know that anyone ever did. I think that's probably the sketchiest thing. Because I feel like you should be able to figure out if someone named Sandra Reed ever worked for Bethesda.
Right, or someone just looked up a directory of someone who got let go recently on their LinkedIn, and I don't know. Who knows how. It
should be easy to verify that.
Seems weird they'd be that willing to put your name out there, because then you're just basically telling every other development studio out there in the world, please don't hire me.
I wish we could just do a psychoanalysis of this person who felt angry, because that was my favorite part. I wasn't getting all excited about leaks or anything. I was like, I want to talk to this person, because she was saying that she had 2 kids and she was leaking the information because she was pissed off for being fired, like you said, because she accidentally leaked other information. So she admits to being not good at her job and then being angry about being fired for not being good at her job. So she proceeds to screw herself career-wise with her actual name, according to this, her actual name, despite the fact that she has 2 children.
Yeah.
I want to just talk about that.
A little reactionary.
Yeah.
This next one, this is the third question from Boston Brawler 02. Do you think the history of Boston will influence the game in any way, i.e. the Boston Tea Party, Boston Massacre, etc.? I think it could be interesting because there could be a new version of the Minutemen that would be compatible or comparable to the NCR, as well as the number of historical locations in the city: Bunker Hill, Monument, Paul Revere, Trail House, all that stuff, the Old North Church, etc. as well. Another question would be, how would you want this history to be included?
That's way out of our ability to answer it.
I guess, this is all kind of answered in Assassin's Creed 3, right? Where you go, oh cool, Paul Revere.
Yeah.
It's a video game, who cares?
Yeah.
Doesn't Assassin's Creed 3 also do the Boston Massacre?
I don't know.
I think that's a sequence in the game.
And the Boston Tea Party.
the Tea Party, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. I know you do that sort of stuff, and then I guess it doesn't even dawn on you until you go, oh yeah, that's right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I always like how they repurpose things. Like in New Vegas is a perfect example.
God, this game's fucking ugly.
It's
so
it's
ugly.
Not
Look at that.
Look at it.
It hasn't aged
You didn't
well.
even break her you didn't even build her like Adam would have built her in a weird create a character kind of way. You just built a normal thing. She still looks like a monster.
She has stuff going for her.
Well, I was saying, in this one they have a group of guys called Khazar's Legion because they can't pronounce the word Caesar correctly. I like that sort of stuff. So yeah, there is like a variation of the Minutemen. I don't know. It always seems to be in Fallout. It's just a minor part of the world. Good job. You're fighting an old black guy.
Old Easy Pete.
I don't know how to sprint.
You better run.
There's no sprint.
Isn't there a sprint? I thought there was
That
a sprint.
looks like a sprint to me.
New Vegas.
That's about. If you lightly tap. Okay, yeah. Look at your Pip-Boy. Yeah, you're screwed. I don't know.
I'm good.
I think Boston's an interesting location.
Yeah.
for sure. But in that trailer, is there any one thing in there I can point out there and you'd go, oh yeah, totally Boston, or you go, oh, I can kind of see Fenway.
Yeah, that's what. Well, you pointed out Fenway.
Yeah.
I think it's the kind of thing where it's a whole different sci-fi world. So
Right.
You don't have to worry about necessarily what Boston means historically in our world. You can just do whatever. I don't think you're supposed to be learning. I don't think you're supposed to be learning VATS on easy P.
I played this mouse and keyboard, so I'm trying to figure out the
Makes
controller.
almost no difference. Long question, short answer. Sorry about that. Rambo Bashor, seeing as how some people are upset that the graphics in the trailer seem subpar for a next-gen game, how do you guys feel about them? Well, I mean, we're looking at New Vegas now, as Spool's getting his ass kicked by Easy Pete.
And his gang of friends.
Who's gonna lose a tutorial of this game?
It's not a tutorial.
I don't know. I mean, I don't. Like I said, I'm not going to go back on my statement that you have to be this graphical powerhouse, because I do think that we're still at the point technically where if you commit fully to graphics, you're going to sacrifice something somewhere else.
I always like perfect example is the Order 1886, where I just see all these comparison things of all this of like best graphics in the world, best graphics. Like, yeah, but so many people complain that the game is shit.
Graphics are not everything.
Yeah.
Like for sure. Like
I think more what we're questioning is that it just totally looks like it almost looks like the same thing, like again. And so it's like, how long has it been since Fallout 3? How many years?
I want to say it came out in 2007, 2008, something like that.
So almost a decade. Like it doesn't have to be a whole reboot of everything, but like it shouldn't just look like New Vegas. I think I don't think it should.
I don't think it did, honestly. I think looking at a compressed YouTube video doesn't do any justice, and also we didn't really see the actual gameplay.
Yeah.
Like
there was even even the last shot of the vault guy walking away. Like I was like,
booty.
Yeah, well that's the thing. If you look at his butt, it's like shrink wrapped on there, which is like that's like really not lazy development, but it's like are there no like cloth physics, like clothing physics and stuff?
You've
like,
seen the hair physics in Witcher.
Sure.
These are little graphic things that you can do that I don't know. I totally don't think it's necessary, because Fallout is a game that works on a completely different level. It is very much an RPG.
I was going to say, I think that the big audience that Bethesda's probably keeping in mind, at least from what I understand, the bigger sales numbers are on consoles. And so I would be happy if they came out. Just start a new game, dude.
Yeah, you're fucked. Pickpocket.
I'm doing it.
Look how happy
It won't let me pickpocket.
Use your VATS. There you go.
Punch her in the face.
Or in the tit.
3 punches. 3 solid. Boom!
Head is crippled.
Crit strike though. Take that, Sonny Smiles.
I would like them to come out and just say, this is all gameplay on the Xbox One or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, Bethesda's whole mantra is, we'll put it on PC and they'll fix it. The fans will do mods and they'll make it as pretty as they want. You can't
Just quit.
I'm surprised there wasn't like an initial save. I thought there was.
You fucked up so quick.
Yeah, how you punched Easy Pete in the face.
But Easy Pete was looking at me funny and I wanted his gun.
Just wow. I think there's cheats. I
We'll
don't
get
know.
it. We'll get
Either
it.
way. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we always kind of stand by what we said. Graphics don't really matter. I think we're all kind of unimpressed, but that's not the kind of game Fallout has ever been.
For the record, I was unimpressed just because I haven't been excited for like Fallout.
They have
a lot of people have been dying for it, but it isn't a series that I ever really got into.
And that's fine. Yeah, different strokes for different folks. Like, I'm a big Fallout fan. I like it. So
Yeah, I don't mind Bethesda's art style, other than like the faces. Just that's always made me laugh, but I never didn't like them.
Yeah.
Okay, moving to the next question. This is from The Last Alive. Considering that the trailer looks like it uses in-game footage and the graphics of the game don't look as well as one would expect for a next-gen console, Xbox One, PS4, things, current gen, whatever, do you think it's better to sacrifice graphics for story?
For story? No.
Or gameplay first.
Yeah, gameplay. I think. I mean, if your only concern is to tell a story, double down on the graphics.
Totally, yeah.
Because it'll look really pretty, and people are like, oh, even if the story's not amazing, they'll be like, oh, it's so pretty.
And that doesn't just mean like make it look more realistic. I mean, just double down on the graphics. If it's like super stylized, what's that Sword and Sorcery Brothers Sword and Sorcery game?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like that game is the graphics are part of the storytelling of the game.
and the music's amazing in that game.
The music's
too.
amazing
Yeah.
too. But yeah, I think double down on the gameplay.
Game. So we're saying what? Gameplay, story, then graphics, or gameplay?
No, I
graphics,
usually.
story?
Well, I never say graphics. I say more of just art
Visual,
style.
yeah, visual.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like make something that kind of stands out
Works.
on its own.
Yep.
'Cause, I mean, so like a good example is like Witcher and Assassin's Creed kind of look alike. Mm-hmm. But then when you like really get down to the nitty gritty, like that's where you kind of you separate the two. But a game like Fallout has a really unique, different kind of aesthetic, and it's usually because it's based on a time period. I like I always say this, but like I like the fact that it is a moment in time where everyone just stopped, and then you throw a nuclear wasteland on top of that, and then it's like, okay, now you can get really creative with it.
Yeah.
So that's all I really care about in terms of graphics of like what little things are you going to put in there, and they're showing like 1950s Americana. I'm like, I love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So
I haven't done it yet, but I feel like in like maybe a year or 2 years or 3 years, I will probably go back and play BioShock Infinite, and I think I will still enjoy how it looks.
Yeah.
Because of the art style of the game, because of the environments and the colors of those environments and the style that it really commit itself to. And I don't think it, like, BioShock Infinite didn't come out and blow me away because I thought Elizabeth looked super realistic. I actually liked how she didn't look realistic.
Yeah.
She looked stylized and very, like, from a unique time period, kind of like what you were saying about Fallout, you know?
I remember all the hoopla about her not looking like she did in the initial like trailers or whatever and all that too, and they changed her art style so she looked more like childlike, right?
like more Disney-esque.
Yeah.
Which
sort of
is
thing.
good, so that way when I'm looking up flash porn games about her, what? It's still questions and answers. We can be funny on this. We don't have to be all super serious. Podcast boys.
No, you can be funny. It's just gross.
Oh, you were there. You saw it too.
She's someone's daughter.
Yeah, she's my daughter.
Yeah.
That's how the game works.
I can do what I want with her. She's mine.
This one comes from Schmeaton Ski, building off VATS in Fallout 3 and the inclusion of hardcore mode in New Vegas. What new gameplay mechanics do you hope will be added to Fallout 4?
New ones.
New
though.
gameplay mechanics? I didn't even think about that. I'm just hoping they keep some of the old ones.
Yeah.
I like VATS.
I like that too.
I like VATS because
I like when Spool tries to use them to uppercut a woman in the face.
yeah.
It doesn't work.
It almost worked though.
Bruce, we're talking about VATS.
Yeah, what? Well, I was saying
Bruce,
on
you
top
love
of that,
VATS.
what
I love
other
VATS.
are there any gameplay mechanics that you think are missing from Fallout that we need?
Missing from Fallout.
If you could come up with a
Like,
new
in general?
a new gameplay mechanic to set Fallout 4 a little bit
gameplay
apart,
mechanic.
what would you add?
Well, I mean, have you guys already talked about the whole online gameplay mechanic?
No.
That's something like I mentioned this, and I think everybody kind of rolled their eyes in here, but it was one of those things that I wish that they would do, which is sort of like public events where you play online with other people in Destiny. You could do that in Fallout. I doubt that they're implementing that at all. It looks like just the same old game, but that was something I wanted to see in Fallout.
And
So
4.
you'd want to meet other people in the wasteland,
Right.
Like, but then when you do you go inside a building, it would just be you.
Exactly. Like
Okay.
it's sort of like instances and raids and things like that. I just wish that there was like some giant wasteland monster that would appear that you all had to fight together or whatever, and then you get loot and all that other stuff.
All I've wanted, I think most people have wanted from Bethesda games, is co-op. Like just
yeah.
even 2-player co-op, but 4-player would probably be like what people would want. Like just give them.
Someone can just play as your companion.
Yeah,
like the dog.
exactly. Especially
yeah,
like even in
that'd be cool.
Skyrim,
Carry my stuff.
Like who wouldn't have loved having like their companion or whatever
Yeah.
be like a playable character?
Well, it's
or,
funny.
like,
I always envisioned the opposite of Destiny, where it was the open world is empty. It's just you. That's your story. But if you get to a dungeon, it's like, hey, your friend's online. Do you want to play together? And then you guys could do, like a raid
Yep.
together, that sort of thing. That I'd be fine with. But then, they kind of went full retard with it with Elder Scrolls Online, which was the complete wrong way of doing a Bethesda game online.
Yeah, it really was.
So
What are the odds you think of this of what we're describing being in Fallout 4?
real low.
Yeah, I know. I think Bethesda kind of knows what they're good at, which is a single player game.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know. I just want a better menu interface.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Something between what we've seen in Fallout and what we've seen in Skyrim, like just something in the middle would be kind of nice. And I think they keep getting better with it, but then also with mods and everything else. But for the general users on consoles, it kind of sucks when you're stuck with long load times and a shitty interface.
Yeah.
This comes from Bruce Toxic Ass.
Ooh.
Oh.
Do you
That's my ass.
have any theories or predictions to make about the game, such as story, time, setting, features, or themes? I'll post my theory as a reply to this to avoid it being too long. He's saying his theory is that you lived in pre-war, you're in pro, so yeah. Oh, Lawrence wrote that part in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
He put in his brackets his own thought process.
Gotcha. Was it who was saying it in the room that it might be? I think I saw those Robaz or someone was saying like it. You might be able to, it might be what happened right after the bombs dropped. Which actually doesn't really make any sense.
I thought this was after Fallout 3. So we know what happens after at the end of Fallout 3. Basically, water gets purified. So we're assuming it's sort of the start of civilization again, where it's not just wasteland like Fallout 3. And I thought that's why everything was more colorful.
That makes sense.
I could be totally
But
wrong.
they also
That was
have
my theory.
they also have the flashbacks and stuff all built in there too, which looked really cool.
It seemed like that seemed way more like gameplay when it was cutting back and forth than it did like a cutscene. It felt like that was a moment you would play in the game,
Absolutely.
which is it's interesting. That's a cool way of doing it. Where like James was just mentioning BioShock. My sort of disappointment with BioShock Infinite was I don't think you got to experience Columbia in its like pristine nature for long enough. I wanted most of the game to be like that, where like things were good, but then like I think Ken Levine just wanted to like he wasn't what burns everything to the ground. He loves dystopias.
Yeah.
And like I wanted that. I like to see things before the fall, but I want to spend as much time in there as I can and not have to be in a wasteland all the time. So that's what I'm hopeful for, is that you get to see a lot of these moments.
I was hoping that, because I think you're right. I was hoping that was the world was changing, so it was becoming better. Whereas like we're looking at New Vegas right now, and New Vegas is a little more colorful than I guess the original Fallout 3.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, like this to me
it's
looks
kind of
like
this was gray for brown,
Right,
basically.
right.
DC was really grayish, and this one's just brown desert.
yeah, and 3 was just green, right? Like
Right.
like a green kind of.
Fallout 4 looks like it's becoming a better world. Now, I don't know if that's in the past or the future, but I assumed it was in the future. I could be wrong again, but that was my assumption, is that water was purified at the end of Fallout 3, so that means civilization can start up again. So, like, those larger cities and stuff are sort of firing back up.
I made the comparison to Fury Road, the new Mad Max, where it is this, it's a dystopia, but it's post-apocalyptic, but there's color.
People are starting civilizations again.
Yeah, like the sort of thing of like people are going to make the best of what they have. Like, if the world goes to shit and society still continues on, people aren't just going to sit there and be sad and wear gray clothes. They're going to try to bring some light into their life, and I hope that's kind of reflected in the new Fallout.
He also asked about what themes we think might be in the game.
Oh, racism.
I think the major theme is going to be it's the story of one man who has lost everything, right? Who's trying to find a way to get back what he's lost.
Sure.
Only realizing that the world has changed so dramatically that there's no way to go back to what he had before, and he has to learn to live in this new world.
I mean, that sounds pretty good, and it sounds like a trope that isn't necessarily overdone. And that's usually the way these apocalyptic games go. But this is one thing Adam and I, or actually Lawrence and I were talking about yesterday, is that I hope that this isn't exactly the same as every other post-apocalyptic story. I hope there's some sort of twist on that one man's story. I don't know what it is, but I'm hoping Bethesda sort of went out on a limb with this game.
Well, this is where video game writing kind of comes in, where they're like,
no, I know.
we should probably just hit the cliches and move on,
You're right.
There was one thing I didn't even really piece together that well. You're going to kill this man? Is this
No,
Are you
that's
talking?
Barton. He's my friend.
Yeah, sure.
Can you help me?
One of the
I got
things
my own problems.
So, two of the things they showed was the vault suit was 111, so not 101. That was kind of either it was just a nod or that's a thing. But the one thing I didn't really even think about was that you idiot,
Oh, Spool.
Barton, vat him.
Yeah, why aren't you?
Because I wanted to do that.
no.
Cut off his head!
The wasteland is not for the faint of heart.
Or Spool.
Yeah, or Spool, really. You just took that man's clothes. But you see that Brotherhood of Steel power armor, and I'm wondering if that was the main character taking the armor
I'll take his
off.
harmonica too.
Oh.
Like maybe he's like a runaway, from the Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh, yeah.
That could be kind of interesting.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because it looks like it was dismantled, like it was taken off of somebody. And it's like, why is it just sitting in a garage? That stuff's kind of coveted, like in the game where it's like heavy armor to have. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point.
Just a weird thought. So there's a prediction for you. This is LBX Raider. With Fallout 4 being confirmed before E3, do you see Bethesda maybe revealing another game? I've said Dishonored 2.
Yeah, Dishonored 2 is that's a safe bet.
Another game at E3.
Well, yeah, they have their whole press conference.
Everyone wants Elder Scrolls 6. They want, something after Skyrim.
I want
we
blowjobs and a pizza,
Yeah, I was gonna
but
say,
I'm not going to get it at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get that, but I mean, if we got Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls 6, that's huge.
What else do you want? Santa's here.
I know.
I think
Yeah.
Adam's probably right.
Come back here,
Dishonored
little
2.
bit.
Yeah,
And Doom.
Dishonored.
They're gonna show us Doom.
They're going to show Doom. Oh, I'm saying in terms of reveals, like I keep saying this and Lawrence keeps laughing at me.
What are
Prey
they
2.
What are they saving for QuakeCon then?
Probably more
Quake?
Doom stuff, or maybe Quake 7 or whatever. I don't know.
I don't. What?
I'm trying to get.
I'm
It's
hitting
old to
it.
do it.
Oh,
You gotta get closer.
select. Wait,
I think-
close.
I
It
think
says
the-
you have 95%. Chop his head off. Hit right
working.
trigger.
Yeah, he's doing it. Oh, but you
now
weren't
it's doing
doing
it.
it. What the hell were you doing?
I was in right button, maybe. I don't know which one's the trigger.
Watch this spool tries to overtake the tiny little gecko.
Give me your hide.
But yeah, I imagine at least one new IP, Dishonored 2, hopefully Prey 2,
Oh man.
or they're just gonna recall it Prey because
big one.
who freaking remembers Prey?
Nobody.
I thought you do. Isn't that
Adam
like
does.
your
Adam's
favorite?
really excited.
Prey,
about that.
Prey 1 was whatever, but the idea of Prey 2 is really cool.
Remember that one moment we had where Adam was like, "Guys, Prey 2,
Yeah.
Prey 2 with the best." He's like the best trailer that's ever been shown at an event ever was the trailer for Prey 2.
Yeah.
And then we were like, "Oh, really? Which one was that?" We don't remember this being the best trailer ever. And he's like, "I'll show you." And he found it, and we're watching it, and he's like, "Well, I remember it being better."
I forgot about their minds.
Graphics don't matter. Either way, you're like Boba Fett. It was
You look
cool.
like Boba Fett.
Oh man. Okay.
Dr. Bird.
Next question from Moose Sickles. For people who haven't played any Fallout games, where do you recommend they start? Is it a game franchise you guys feel you need to start from the very beginning?
Fallout
New
4.
Vegas.
I was New Vegas, really? Not Fallout 3?
I gained karma.
For what? Killing? Oh,
They weren't talking to me, Adam.
Apparently they were bad people.
Yeah.
they
Ooh, they
have,
got their
lucky.
because they have dark skin.
I guess Fallout 3? I wouldn't recommend Fallout 1 or 2.
I never played
No.
Fallout 1 or 2. I knew enough
neither.
about them. My other friends played them, but I didn't have a computer that could run it.
Yeah.
I was fine just starting Fallout 3. I mean,
I didn't beat Fallout 3.
You didn't like Fallout 3.
Oh, no.
Oh, you did?
I
Oh.
enjoyed
Oh,
playing
okay,
it, but
okay.
it was one of those games where, like, you play it, and then because you have like weeks off or whatever, and then you stop playing it, you come back in 2 weeks, and you're like, I have no idea where I am in this game.
Got it, okay.
Like, unless you can hit it's kind of like Witcher. A lot of these games, Assassin's Creed is even kind of guilty of this too now. But like, there's so much other side questy stuff going on, and the actual main story narrative is only like 3 hours. Like, if you just went boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
then it's real quick. But you also don't get the same effect that everyone else had playing through those games if you just do that.
Just like play your own adventure.
Yeah.
I never got into Oblivion, and
Neither did I.
right before, like, I was getting hyped for Skyrim because it looked really cool. I had a PC at the time, and I just picked up the PC version of Oblivion for $3 or whatever on Steam. Installed some recommended mods with like, oh, it fixes this, this, and this, and I blasted through the game in like 10 hours.
Yeah.
And just kind of sped around. I was like, okay, that's what a game is. And then I put like 400 hours of it over into Skyrim. So
I liked Oblivion. I never beat it, but I really liked it.
I guess like if you ideally you have a PC. Oh, the other thing they might announce, I assume at Bethesda's thing is remaster versions of Fallout and Skyrim. And all
That's
that
what
stuff.
everyone was afraid they were going to do that for the Fallout. Like they're going to do a
Fallout 4, yeah,
Fallout
for the
collection.
reveal.
Everyone's like,
I was gonna
please
say
don't.
that's probably the best thing they could do is re-release the games because they're all on PC and PS4 and Xbox One are basically just
Hey,
PCs at this point.
Make
so-
the whole thing like $40 or something.
Yeah, like put all the games on there. Yeah, replay them. They're all going to go on Steam sales. Game is,
I like the gecko.
Okay, all right. So
sideways.
back to that other question about what gameplay mechanics do you want to add. I hope that they keep VATS, but they figure out how to make it less derpy.
I don't know. I love
Based
the
off
derp.
what you select and stuff, then it kind of gives you a cinematic,
Well, this is my favorite.
a cinematic
VATS.
view.
Oh, sorry.
Like I feel like we're at
There's
the point
another one.
technologically where
Come
it can
in.
be like, okay, it's
Yeah.
going to use this weapon to hit this character in the head, and then It's like Mortal Kombat fatalities, right? Mortal Kombat Lawrence and I were talking about it. Mortal Kombat fatalities used to have to be the thing where the reason you executed the move, so you have to do this fatality at sweep distance, and it's like, well, why do you have to do it at sweep distance? It's because they only animated certain frames that they can't have the character move the difference in distance. But like now in the Mortal Kombat games, as soon as you do the move, it turns into a different, like a cinematic viewpoint of that move. I hope that they can figure out how to tweak that so that way you don't have situations where you're chopping it like a gecko tail and then your foot's just like shaking like for no reason.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like Adam and I think, and Spool, we like that kind of stuff. Like, I thought it was always funny. Yeah, it's charming. Where and I thought like Assassin's Creed, like those bugs were really charming. If they're game breaking, obviously they're not charming.
No, there was New Vegas had some game breaking bugs. I remember where
you got them, I think, but I'm not sure.
I played it on 360. I remember, and I got up on a hill and I was sniping some guys, and they were so far out, and I zoomed in, the game crashed because it couldn't load that much information. I was like, okay, anyone can replicate that glitch. That's a problem. But the derpy foot shit was like that makes me laugh.
What about something you can tick on and off on at least the PC version that says cinematic viewpoints, and it's like, you understand cinematic viewpoints means that it's gonna show you a cinema, basically like a pre-rendered thing when you do this move, or you can just leave it as is and it'll be derpy and broken and weird.
I think the derpy and broken one.
I think it's fun, but
there's so many great YouTube videos that come out of that stuff, like the horses in Skyrim or all kinds of random.
I remember there was this one too, this other video where there was like there's a booby trap, and there's just like a line you have to jump over or whatever. Like you don't want a bomb will go off if you trip. It's like a tripwire, and the guy's playing it, carefully jumps over, and he turns around, and his follower just walks up and walks over to the and then all these bombs just drop, and the guy's like, "Fuck!" and he takes a power glove and punches their head off. I love this game. This is from Cooksley. What's your opinion on them using the creation engine, the modified Gamebryo engine? Gamebryo.
So Lawrence said it wasn't Gamebryo.
I don't think it's been Gamebryo. Oh, okay. So he's saying creation engine, which is what Skyrim was.
Okay.
Which is a modified version of
Gamebryo.
They all kind of look the same. I mean, really. Yeah. I mean, the people look like less of potatoes in Skyrim than they did in Fallout. Or like in Oblivion, they all look like melted humans.
Yeah, they don't look like anything.
Or weird
at all identifiable
monk creatures. He's saying, personally, I get bored with the open world games that use it. Maybe I'm just not into that style of games, but doesn't make. But I'm curious to hear if you care at all. I don't know. I guess he's talking about, does the aesthetic turn you away from the game?
I mean, we were kind of talking like right now. Like, look at this. This is what it looks like when this character runs.
Are these wild brawlers?
Like, again, graphics aren't everything, but I think we can figure this out. Especially because it's not like Spool changed the length of the legs.
Nope.
But what was that game we played?
Do this.
Where we made their derpy, small-legged, giant-bodied Shrek man?
Oh, Reign of Kings.
Reign of Kings.
Yeah.
Does better adapting like an original character that you can make completely unique than this does. So we should at least get to that point.
Skyrim has better animation. Wow.
Yay! Welcome to Bethesda.
It's Bethesda land. Wow.
He's stuck.
I mean, this shit happens in every single game. So, but I don't think this is part of it. But yes,
I hurt my arm.
It is. I think it is a symptom.
You hurt yourself. Oh damn it!
Why didn't you just use bats?
Because I was too close, anyways. I know I got
hurt. Crippled. He's like.
My bigger thing. My bigger thing. It seems to be that they are resolving, which is the drab colors of this game. Are drab. Just very drab.
I was like.
Did you win?
Just play dead.
Look what's happening.
Well, the camera was attached to the bowl.
Well, that was the thing. Like, we were having this discussion yesterday before we shot our episode of The Know, where I walked in, I was like, "You guys like it?" And everyone's like, "Meh." Like, it looked okay, and I was freeze framing certain shots where I'm like, "Look at the detail in that vault door," and you're like, "Eh."
It looked cool.
Witcher looks better. I'm like, "Oh, I can't argue that," but
except for their hair.
I don't know. I mean, like I said. At least they're being honest, and they're not doing the Witcher trailer that James hates.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, that was a valid point we made in the note. So.
Yeah. I guess I feel bad if someone can't get into a game like this because once again, it's not about the graphics. It's sort of the the story you make for yourself and what you do and how you choose to screw certain people over. Like,
It's a gameplay.
For me, that's how I kind of feel about like with Minecraft and stuff. Even like going back to that is because like I have friends or like a lot of you guys and whatnot. They'll be like, I can't get into it. I don't get it. And for me, it's always like you kind of make your own story. Like you kind of imagine your own thing. Whereas like the game doesn't really give you that much to work with.
yeah. Well, my aha moment was in Fallout 3 where you go to was it Nuketown or whatever, where the giant or Megaton.
Megaton.
Yeah, I go there and there was this like seedy dude, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna do some really shady shit. You want to be part of it? I was like, yeah, I do. And he was like, all right, cool. And he had like a cool looking gun. Then I went over and talked to this one sheriff. I'm like, hey, that guy's gonna do bad stuff. And the guy was like, you bastard! And he started shooting. And I let the cops come in and kill him. And then I took his gun. And I was like, oh, that's what this game is about. You can kind of do weird, fucked up shit like that. And that made that kind of what sold me on the Fallout franchise. Dr. Joe Fish, what do you think about multiplayer and Fallout? Well, we kind of talked about this.
Yeah, we did.
By that I mean, do you think there could be a co-op mode or something along those lines? Maybe something like Destiny's character scheme? I think Bruce, you and this guy need to go on a date.
I know, we already mentioned that.
Yeah, you take your character and your weapons, armor, and stuff through the story and multiplayer. Yeah,
our thoughts are, yes, it should definitely be there, but also it 90% likely probably won't be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will be. I think Bethesda knows exactly what they do well, which is single player. But I'm hoping that the big reveal this year is going to be some sort of online. I don't know if it will be.
You know what's interesting? You're
like, I'm gonna do it.
And I wouldn't be surprised if more developers didn't get on board with it. But how GTA is GTA and then GTA Online, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like how they can almost
What's
sell
happening?
two different packages. You know, one being the multiplayer, one being the actual single player game. I wouldn't be surprised.
Children?
No, they're powder
Sorry,
gangers.
go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's something we eventually got from a game like Fallout.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we will,
They
but
announce it later. Yeah.
Well, we're showing Fallout, and then in 3 months we're going to show off Fallout Online,
Yeah,
which is a companion app to the game. You know,
That'd be cool.
It'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, I like the idea of making it optional. That's always like kind of the smartest thing to do. And then, I don't know, like the one thing I've noticed is I've been playing a lot more Destiny than I think I would have replayed games like Halo, because they do those daily bounties.
Yeah, yeah.
Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not that far as you are, Marvel Puzzle Quest. But same with GTA. They do the daily objectives. Having that sort of thing, like in a game like Fallout, that's open world, and they could. What's on your face?
Awesome, you look cool.
Storm chaser hat.
All right.
Not chasing storms.
Yeah. Some minor online component just to kind of. I don't know. I think stuff like that's pretty good too for people like James who were saying like, I came back to the game and I was completely lost, but they're like, here's 3 things you could do today
Right now.
and they will advance you in a way that will probably help you through the story. They go, oh, okay, like that, like minor stuff like that. I don't want a Elder Scrolls Online ever again.
It was I played Elder Scrolls Online to max level.
To max level?
Yeah, to max level plus some. It's fun. Like I played it basically as a single player game or a co-op game. Me and my one friend like leveled all the way up together.
Right, but
And
you
that
still,
was fun. But like other than that, it was like
You keep using dynamite on the Scorpions.
Why not?
Yeah, you're a hardcore
because
American.
I'm expecting explosives,
Use
Bruce.
Use VATS. Use VATS.
Yeah,
You
also
don't
good
vats
aim
with dynamite. Not when he's that close.
Yeah, you do, and then you run away. Do
Do
it right there.
No,
Okay.
don't listen.
Spool.
Don't listen, Spool.
I'm gonna machete him. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna machete.
You do whatever you got to do, man.
We're gonna straight razor him.
Well, my issue, like, just with MMOs... Jesus Christ. This goes back to World of Warcraft. What I didn't like was, like, you're the chosen hero. Go out into this world. And then there's some other jackass killing the
Yeah.
scorpions that you killed 5 minutes ago, but they respawn.
Well, yeah, that's an MMO for
Yeah,
sure.
and
Yeah.
I was like, I could never play those games as a single player
You're some
experience.
other jackass.
Oh, it's like I'm the chosen one. Wait, he's the there's so many chosen ones.
they're
This
all
is
chosen.
I don't know.
bullshit.
I grew up with MMOs like literally since the age of like 10 or 11. I started with Ultima Online back in like 1999, and I've just grown accustomed to that, like getting used to like other people being around and not being necessarily like the superhero one. But
Well, that's why I like the idea of separating the two.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
right.
If it's this
Yeah.
is the one where you're the chosen one. This is another one where you're just part of this fucked up world.
Yeah.
Like that'd be better.
Yeah, that's kind of the evolution. I think you're right, James.
Thanks, Adam.
Just want to make you feel like you're part of the team, you know?
Sometimes I don't feel that way.
This comes from Funhaus fan. Having never played Fallout but love Skyrim, what are the major differences in style and or gameplay? What has it done better or worse?
Major differences in style
Between
are
Fallout and Skyrim?
post-apocalypse versus fantasy.
It is
Yeah.
sci-fi versus fantasy, really.
But I mean, like, in terms of art style, it's really similar.
Yeah.
At least I always thought it was.
At least the character art.
A little bit. I mean, Skyrim's cleaner.
That's true. Yeah.
Colder.
Yeah.
I feel like if you had the world of Skyrim, you took away all the water, you'd be left with the world of Fallout.
That's the way I feel
Like
too.
all
yeah.
the rivers, all like because there's so many underground caverns in Skyrim that I see that are like flowing water,
Yeah.
and that causes like light reflection and stuff like that. But since this doesn't have anything,
Oh
shot.
man,
Got him.
that scorpion's dead.
I always thought Fallout was kind of more of a tongue-in-cheek.
19% chance.
oh, I get it.
got
Yeah, like almost comedic.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it never
Yeah.
took itself too seriously. Like it always kind of made fun of itself a little bit, but also at the same time, everything's trying to kill you.
Yeah, that's true.
As evidenced by these scorpions, like
Throwing spear.
you could walk. I mean, half the time, like you'll drink water and it gives you radiation poisoning.
Yeah, it would
like,
kill you, right?
Yeah, so it's a world that's always trying to kill you, but
Ha! I missed him.
You missed him, and now you're
94%
woozy.
chance.
Yeah.
Why am
pick it
I
up.
woozy?
Pick it up.
I tried.
Oh boy,
Oh man,
this is bad
don't
news.
back up into the other scorpions.
So I killed them all.
Punch it.
He's the last one.
are you punching?
No. I'm throwing spears.
Ah, you missed again.
Apparently there's like too close
Oh!
for throwing spears.
You look like every white person at a Hawaiian resort.
Oh! They're all around him. Come on.
You're missing a lot.
Probably should
my
get some
gosh.
distance.
He's charging.
I mean, really.
Oh,
Oh.
ragdoll.
I'm trying to think. I want to say Skyrim is a bit more simplified.
Yeah.
I want to say it was a lot more. It was pretty simple. Go to
It's also newer, so you can think that they took into account what they'd learned with Well, I guess they didn't really make New Vegas.
No, but Fallout 3, they made.
But they did Fallout 3 and
Yeah.
stuff, so they took what they learned, what worked, what didn't work, and
Yeah.
and went from
I
there.
always felt like Fallout was a bit more branching path, a little bit. I don't know.
No,
More than Skyrim.
I agree. The Skyrim, I played like I want to say 8 hours of Skyrim,
That's not
and I got kind of bored.
That's fair.
Because and it wasn't. I mean, like it wasn't Skyrim's fault. I don't think it was just the fact that with Fallout I had a ton of time on my hands when I was playing it, and Skyrim felt exactly the same way to me. Where I was like, if I wanted to, I could explore this universe for like you said, 400 hours. Like I could totally do that, and I'm sure Bethesda would make me excited about it. I just didn't do it. So and it's funny. The more people talk about Skyrim, the more I wish I had done that. Because I did with Fallout, and I loved it. So
It's a great game.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you're in prison, fantastic game to play. Like you got nothing better to do.
yeah, that's true.
This is from Nesnimus. As someone who's never played, as someone who's never played Fallout before, why should I be interested in this game? I think this is a James question.
What? I mean, I wouldn't know the answer because I haven't played it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Why should you be interested in Fallout?
I mean, it's one of those things. I never want to tell anyone what they should like. I don't know. I don't like hyping people up for things. We do it all the time because we like certain things. I don't know. Why? I don't know. I guess if you'd have to convince someone why Fallout's worth picking up, what would you say?
I would ask them, number one, do they have 5 hours to spend on this game in one session? And if they do they want to have their own adventure? That's sort of my question for everybody is like, you'll enjoy it if you want to go in and wander around. Like, you know, like, because you honestly are wandering around a lot in those games. You're just kind of looking at things and encountering things.
Cool.
It's perfect.
He's dead.
But this is not to me like, you know, like a Counter-Strike where you can play a half an hour and leave.
Right.
Like you have to sit down and play this for a good amount of time to be like, it hooked me. Now I'm gonna go back.
Yeah, I think that term casual versus hardcore comes into play, but
Yeah.
I think it's more about how much freaking time do you have.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good time killer. It's one of those games where like this kind of falls under I think Spool's $1 an hour show.
Oh, does it?
Scorpion flying in your face.
No, they definitely, like, all Bethesda games pretty much give you a shit ton of gameplay for your money.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. It's really hard to tell someone like why you should care because if you're not into it, I'm not going to twist your arm.
Yeah.
That's like, I had someone asking me, like, what, like, I know you really like The Witcher. What do you, like, like, how would you recommend that I buy it? And I'm like, I don't want to, like, have that pressure of telling someone to buy a $60 game that I don't know if they like. So I'm like, if you like the other Witchers, for one, yes. If you like open world RPGs like Skyrim or like stuff like that, then yeah, you'd probably like it. But.
Well, it's like I've never played Call of Duty. Should I play Black Ops 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
do
like,
you
are
like
you-
first-person shooters?
Do you
It's
look
'cause-
at it and think, this has kind of like grabbed my interest? Yes. If not, then no.
I feel like what in this sort of case, what you do is I think what we all used to do. That sort of just got sucked into the ground.
It's like time ramps.
Yeah.
What I used to do was like I'd go to a friend's house and I'd either rent a game or I'd borrow a game or something like that. And if it was the sort of game where I was like, I cannot wait to play that game, then I'd buy it. I'd be like, I want this on my own, or like I was playing like GTA 3 at a friend's house, and I'm like, but I want to progress my own story, and I want to play. This game is so fucking broken. We can't wait for the sequel.
I would say it's because we're on a console, but no, we're on PC.
Skating to you.
Anyways, move on. This is actually a good question for you, Bruce. This is from Eggs Caliber. How do you guys feel about all the dislikes on the No Fallout 4 video? I personally thought that you guys had all had great contrasting points, and thought it was interesting. Thought it was an interesting discussion. I'm breaking down. I'm sorry.
No, the dislikes. I mean, like they made sense to me because Fallout 4. I mean, like honestly, credit to Bethesda #1 for making the fucking game. Like people have been wanting this game for years and years and years.
They could have valved it.
And they could have valved it, and they didn't. Which I was. That's the one thing that I was really super excited about. The trailer didn't get me excited about the game. I thought it was awesome that they made it. And then they were like, you know what, guys? We know you like Fallout 3. We know you want Fallout 4. So guess what? Here it fucking is. Like here it is. And I thought that was cool. The dislikes on the episode were just because we talked about the trailer and sort of downplayed it. I think.
Negatively talked about it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little something about game fans.
Okay.
Like people that like video games a lot. They are very loud, and
Yes.
they do not like.
Well.
They don't like dissenting opinions.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
And all you have to do is not agree with their opinion, and they don't like it at all. And as much as they like to complain about being misled and like overhyping things and treating these games like deities, they totally do it all the time. There's like we're never gonna pre-order a game ever again. Unless it's Fallout 4. You know, like, that's how it works all the time.
I saw last night when I got home that Fallout 4 is already for pre-sale on Steam.
Yeah,
and there's literally no info in there just other than it's Fallout 4.
And I
in the trailer.
guarantee you, the same people that were just posting on Reddit saying we should boycott pre-orders,
Like, fuck yeah!
we're,
It's still-
we're paying for it because they were like, well, this doesn't count as
It's
Fallout
still
4.
it's like one of the top sellers on Steam too.
So I think it's a passion issue, and it can be good and it can be bad.
Yeah,
and I think in this case, the people didn't want someone walking in and saying like spitting in their birth cake. I'm freaking out too. Yeah, like they didn't want
are we
anyone
doing here?
coming in there and like
Adam's gonna
ruining
show us.
their
I
fun.
was saying my example is this is a website we source sometimes, N4G, because it kind of curates gaming stories, but it's one of the most garbage websites in the world because it is all reactionary based on basically people are reacting to titles and like never reading the story. Reddit's kind of the same way, but like this one,
YouTube.
Xbox End of an Era. This is also a super hardcore PS4 fan-infused site. Like, it's always been pro Sony, and it's completely evidenced by so many different things. So this one says Xbox End of an Era, and it's just everyone going, "Yep, you're right. Xbox is over." It's like, did you even read the fucking story? And like, they're not going to do that. But like, there's just other shit in here. Like this, you won't believe how hot this cosplay is. I mean, there's one in here, nude mod.
I love those
nude
stories.
mod
Stuff like that.
right there.
Kojima story.
First nude mod
But the
for
thing
Witcher
is,
3.
what you're seeing on the base level in terms of like
Click it.
negative comments, dislikes on videos and stuff like that, it's almost 100% based on the title and not the content itself.
Yeah,
Well,
they
we
didn't
found
watch
that
the video?
we
Yeah.
found that on YouTube, and that's what we were talking about. Is like on YouTube, a lot of people won't watch the video; they'll just read the title or read the description or whatever, and be like, "Rah!" Like it means immediately have some opinion, even though they didn't watch the end of our video or whatever. They just kind of.
Well, the thing that surprised me is in the No video, like Adam was like, "I'm excited." Like Adam was the excited fan, so they're like, we don't even want to have differing opinions.
Yeah,
like
no.
everyone should be on the same page.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we always do is we're aware of our dynamic in the group, that there's usually, the straw man and stuff like that, but like we can always have a positive and a negative, and we always do that. We're like, all right, I'll be good cop, you be bad cop, like that sort of thing. And like you can tell Bruce is going to the extreme, but he's also laughing about it because he's having a good time doing it because he's not serious. It's
Bruce
sort of
is
like,
excited for Fallout 4.
I'm very excited for
Yeah, of
Fallout 4.
course.
I mean, like, I hope to God that I have enough time to play it. That's actually my biggest worry now.
we should
So,
take 6 months off.
Let's take 6 months off and play
Yep.
some Fallout 4.
Yeah, and it was just kind of a different take on the side of it, where like I thought it was kind of refreshing that it wasn't the same bullshit of everyone jerking themselves off about a video game that's not out yet.
Because everyone else is talking about all the good points.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there are bad points necessarily. Like not everything's perfect. No game.
Well,
no
it
whatever.
also didn't show anything either. It's
Yeah.
all speculative.
It showed
It showed
Yeah.
in-engine footage, which a lot of people were very pleased about.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point now, you can do basically whatever you want to with in. That's what I think. That's also what bothers me a lot about those. Like the Witcher. By the way, I don't really have anything against the Witcher trailer per se. It's just what I like to point to because it makes me laugh. But like, you can do so much with in-engine games. Like the GTA trailers are the best examples of those, where they just did in-engine trailers and they look amazing.
Yeah.
So that makes me always go like, why are we hiring out other companies to show off how cool our game is by not even using the game engine that looks so cool all on its own?
I've always seen that as just it's time. It's time to take a vertical slice out of a game to stop and go, okay, we got to do this trailer. Because I think Bethesda does a lot of that stuff in-house. I remember seeing a behind-the-scenes video where they had a video editor there.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's the guy who cuts all their stuff. And so, like, he's got to capture it, get it approved, all that stuff. That takes time.
Yeah.
And if you go, hey, Blur, here's some assets. Can you just make this for us?
It's
And
easier,
it'll
right.
appease our investors. Like, I can see that
Got it.
being the easier route.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But at the same
He's
We
gonna
almost
get you.
had him. He
I like
was
that-
almost working.
They're actually stuck in the world.
That one's gonna get you.
They're not like just under the ground. They're actually stuck on the environment, which is funny.
94%. Oh, you take that bet.
Boom.
Crit
Critical
strike.
Yeah, you got that.
Ooh.
All right, this is
let you live.
Astamar. Sounds weird. How do you guys feel about the timing of the Fallout 4 announcement? Do you think that they should have waited until E3 so they could have had a bit more of an edge during the conference, or does it even matter
Uh-oh.
because of the holy shit Fallout 4 mentality?
Sorry.
I'm gonna let Spool answer this one.
Okay.
I wasn't listening.
Oh.
I saw an army of bark scorpions coming towards me.
I like when not everything at E3 is a surprise.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that comes. I think that comes especially from being in games
Oh.
media. Like, it's a lot easier to kind of be like, as opposed to a lot of lists that just say unannounced IP from whatever
Yeah.
studio, or like that makes things really confusing, and it's almost always underwhelming.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
it's almost never what you wanted it to be.
Also, this is coming. Most of us have all worked E3 for like the past 5-6 years
Yeah.
in some way or another. So when you work it, it's a whole different event than like a viewer at home or whatever that's like waiting to hear these things.
Yeah,
Usually
yeah.
we get little inklings or like we know kind of what games are kind of coming and stuff. But I feel like a lot of people want that extra info about their favorite game, or just they like the announcement, like the veil being lifted and stuff.
It's like imagine if the only time you ever came was when you had sex with a international supermodel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're
That's
saying.
the only time, right? But what was that? Maybe once
A
every never,
lifetime? Yeah.
every never. Like, but so I like to jerk off too sometimes.
Wow.
And so Bethesda doing their own. All right, here's a Fallout trailer or whatever. That's like jerking off. You know, it keeps the status quo. Keeps things good, and I think that's better than loading everything into 3 days and then going.
I like to think, yeah, it's kind of like a fluffer though. Like it just keeps you ready there.
Like I came out of the ground. What I'm actually a fan of, since we've had things like PAX and I guess QuakeCon and
Ooh,
getting dehydrated. What's happening here?
no, I'm woozy because they nicked me.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I like Gamescom. I think was kind of a big deal when they started. Like, I like when the information spread out through the year. I mean, just from a career perspective, it makes our jobs easier.
Yep.
Instead of having to wait to the end of the year, or one part of the year before the summer, and get all the news at once. Like James is saying, yeah, it's like I'd rather that stuff be spread out, and I like that Nintendo's been kind of doing their directs. Like I like how they do that. I don't really give a shit about most of what they have to talk about, so it's not that great. But I'd like to see other companies kind of follow suit. Mm-hmm. Like I'd like Sony to do it once a month to be like, here's a bunch of stuff we're doing. This is what's in development. Here's some new trailers. Here's some stuff, instead of like saving it all for E3. I think E3 is an old, antiquated system that needs to kind of go away.
Well,
Is E for all still a thing?
No.
No,
Not
that
for,
ended.
not for years. I think Adam said this a long time ago to me, and it stuck because he was saying, and this is from a business perspective of Bethesda. What you want to do is, if you announce this game now or 2 weeks before E3, then you get a bunch of search traffic for just your game. And if you would put this into E3 with a I don't know 100 other games that get announced,
Yeah.
then even though it's Fallout 4 and even though it's massive, it's not going to be as big as if you put it out on your own.
Yeah. What if Half-Life 3 gets announced? It won't, but what if it does?
Right, yeah, then you get overshadowed. So, like, I think Bethesda made the right decision here, and I think that more companies are going that way.
And we kind of made the comparison the other day about how it's kind of like Black Friday and stuff, and where now they do it like 2 days beforehand or start announcing things or releasing stuff beforehand so that people will go to their sales and not miss out on their. It's kind of like this and that, like the hype. You're trying to get that hype before anyone else gets to it.
And it actually it makes me a bit more excited too that they have more to show. Like you said, if the rumor is correct, the announcement is going to be that the game's coming out this year, Fallout 4, that I always try to look at things from like a marketing perspective. So we've got E3 is the big announcement. We've already seen the gameplay, which means it's already playable. We saw Gamescom, QuakeCon, PAX. What about PAX South? That's
PAX South is in January, I think.
So RTX, like you have all these different events that you can pick from that you can market out. QuakeCon being the biggest one because it's all Bethesda now.
Right.
And Gamescom because then you get the European crowd, and then TGS if you really want to get the Tokyo crowd. So that would make sense if they're going down that line of marketing. So that's
got it.
I'm hoping we see something a little bit more like Todd Howard just goes and goes, yeah, here's the gameplay mission. Here we go, and we can get a little bit of gameplay. That's all.
Yeah, I think honestly Bethesda nailed the timing, like almost perfect.
Yeah, sounds good. This is from Prezazir. How do you feel about the internet being so fickle with graphics of games? Gamers say they don't want to be hyped up for the false gameplay and pre-rendered style trailers, James. Then they go and complain that Fallout 4 looks bland. They get what they want and they still complain. Do you think there is a way to fix this train of thought? Ooh, that guy's cute.
He's Neil.
Well, I think this is the same as movie critics. Like, once you get this medium that's so large, you have things that sift to the top of that and create a film that seem to represent the opinions of everyone, but really don't care. So you have movie critics who will gladly accept a free invitation to go see a movie, but then look down their noses on that film because it didn't meet their criteria for whatever. I think that's just a symptom of almost every single medium. The only thing is, because games aren't treated the same way films and books are, like in terms of art or whatever, there's no real filter on the criticism. So it becomes internet. It becomes tied with the internet, where you can say anything anonymously. So everything you say is going to be on steroids. Like you may think it looks kind of unimpressive, but you're still going to play it. But the comment that you leave on a YouTube video is going to be, "This fucking sucks.
Right, yeah.
I hate this." Because that's the internet.
That's another thing too, where I see this a lot. Like I think I saw a headline saying something along the lines of like, "Dear gamers, you say this, but you say another thing. You're embarrassing yourselves." Like, well, there's a lot of voices on the internet. It's not just one guy.
Well, and also on the internet, it's a vocal minority too. Like,
it can be
a low percentage.
Sometimes you have to look at it like maybe like an electoral college, where like this group of people probably represents a much higher number somewhere else, where a lot of people are like, I guess like us, like we'll voice an opinion, and someone goes, "I didn't know I had that opinion before," but that you are like, I thought that same way, but you vocalized it in a way that I couldn't. I agree with that person. They let someone else do the talking for them. Holy shit!
Barrel.
Let's do it.
You're gonna die if you.
Why are you killing these guys?
Don't do it again.
To do something with them.
Because they're super mutants.
Right?
You're trying to get to Tabitha or whatever.
Not that one. Not that one.
I
Not that one.
Zero,
I want to change target.
Right stick.
There we go.
Yep, shoot him in the head with a rocket launcher.
This will be fun.
Boom.
You're dead, right?
His head's crippled.
Oh, I'm good.
He can't walk with that head ever
You're
again.
about to die.
I got stim packs.
I guess at the end of the day, there's a lot of opinions on the internet. You're going to hear a lot of people screaming at each other about stuff that ultimately doesn't matter, graphics in a video game, because if a game's fun, a game is fun. Ooh.
Survived.
His head was crippled. Ah! Oh my god.
Your arms are crippled.
Your
I
arms
like
are
that idea.
Hello.
So, I think we talked about that more than anything else on
don't
here,
kill
about
me.
the graphics.
Please don't kill me.
In my opinion, if the game plays anything... Like, Spool's already been demonstrating, this game is ugly.
You're ugly.
And graphically it's broken. Why are you defending the game? I still want to play this. Like, I want to go back and pick this up and be like, maybe slap a few mods on it and be like, okay, let's see what people have made in the last few years when I haven't played this. Because it doesn't matter. It's a fun game.
It is. It's just fun to play.
Did I miss anything else in that question?
I'm gonna save that. I don't know how I lived.
You did it.
Either way, I'm glad they didn't do a CGI trailer, or they didn't do the typical like just a voice and then announce the thing, because then we would have been hyped for the last 8 months. Whenever they would have done that, I guess they would have done it in January.
Oh, I see.
Is their typical time frame. I got into a weird Reddit argument with someone over this. It didn't really make a lot of sense. But like typically the way Bethesda did it, at least with Skyrim, was they did the CGI announcement trailer, and then a few months later or a year later they'd do a gameplay trailer, then the game would come out. Something like that. Like reveal in 2010, gameplay 2011, reveal in, like later that year, 2011, then you buy the game.
Yeah.
Fallout, at least they're like, here's a gameplay trailer, here's some stuff, and it's hopefully, once again, it comes out this year. I'm really hopeful for
That'd be
that.
amazing.
I think it might.
That'd be
Nice.
amazing.
You found the super mutant.
What
Anyway,
is that?
I think that's it
piece of the
for.
super Oh, we made it through?
That is
I
it
think
for
that's
everyone's
everything.
questions.
Wow.
I wish Lawrence would have.
He
thought it's-
was like,
would've been on
I'll be
it.
in 15 minutes.
That's
Yeah.
right. He's still doing the E3 calls.
Yeah, I think he's actually done a call about E3, where
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be seeing the game. But thank you everyone for your questions for this, the very first episode. Hopefully not the last. of the
If
Q&A
you
podcast.
enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like.
Yeah.
What about a
Really?
favorite?
Let us know.
I
guess-
guess a favorite? Do they do favorites then?
I don't know.
we,
do
we
box for
actually
box?
every time. I don't know if you guys know this. Every time you hit that like button, we get $1.
That's not true.
I
What?
wish.
That's not
Yeah.
Do
What
we-
account does that go
Who,
to?
are
Huh?
you? Who gets the dollars? You?
No, there's like this tribal village out in the middle of Africa.
Ugh.
Wait, we're donating to
That's
poor
not
people?
true.
That's
We
fucking
don't. None of
lame.
it goes to charity.
War is in the eye of the beholder.
They get the money when we retire.
Oh.
We get to go to that island.
Oh.
In
It's
Africa.
like a 401k for islands.
Please make sure you like then, because I want to go to an island eventually.
I'm actually curious. Yeah, I wonder how many likes we can influence. Who made it this far? Like this video if you made it this far.
And tell us that you liked
I just
it.
want to know how many people finished, even
That's
though we
what I
look
was.
at the analytics.
That's what I wanted to see. How many people actually watched it all the way to the end?
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's long.
hopefully more to come. Thanks for listening, guys.
Goodbye.
They mad. Get legs.
Oh yeah, let's we'll finish this.
legs.
Get him.
Get those legs, boy.
And I think what they see, presuming this is true, I think what they see in Silent Hill is a Five Nights at Freddy's style IP that they can own lock, stock, and barrel, basically. So they saw the success of Five Nights at Freddy's on YouTube. They saw the success of PT, and they're thinking there's not really another horror games franchise that's poised to blow up like this in new media on YouTube with like streamers and stuff. And they know that's how games are marketed nowadays. Or that's the most successful way to market one. So,
I was gonna say once you account everything in there, and then also it's not.
Adam, you want to do the intro again?
I can do another.
This is
intro.
going to be the
Alright,
best
sure.
sounding thing we've ever recorded
Yeah, we
because we all have our own
mics.
mics.
Gosh, it's like we're Rooster Teeth.
Weird. Welcome back to the FAQ cast. We actually came up with a name of this since we did the first episode. So,
Back ass.
questions. What is that?
Fact ass.
It's best if you say it quickly.
I
Fact
know.
ass.
It's the Funhaus Answers Questions, and we
Oh.
figured out that's an acronym, and we're just doing the same exact thing. So this time we're talking about VR, virtual reality, and Oculus Rift.
We are.
VR, Troopers, Team, Virtual Reality. That
So-
show was terrible. Can we
Look up
start
the
by
intro,
hold on.
Adam.
Yeah.
Let's
so-
start by talking about virtual
So-
VR Troopers.
Yeah.
I forgot to write my VR Troopers question in
James,
here.
there's a particular chestnut of trivia you always
Yeah.
break out when somebody brings up VR Troopers. Why don't
Yeah.
you lay that one on us?
I'm gonna hit you with it right now.
Okay, do it. Just get
Every
this out of the
single
way.
time they transform, they go, these two characters handle this, and that one character handles something else. The main blonde dude, he goes somewhere, he always fights in a different place than the other two characters on his team. Go ahead and Google VR Trooper, you'll see. It's because they pulled two different Japanese television series. The characters don't ever interact with one another. See? The dude in the middle, right? That's also,
They're
you'll
interacting
notice,
right there.
that's a different costume.
all
Look at
ha-
that costume, it's wrong. Look at the VR Trooper
Holy
above
shit,
it.
you're right.
See? It's the wrong costume.
All right, well,
So,
fuck is going? How did they?
also, the only time that they ever fight together, using the Japanese footage,
Yeah.
is when they go into a weird VR world, right? Where everything's even lower budgeted. And if you notice in the VR world, the middle dude's costume,
That looks so fucking.
the middle dude's costume is just a Red Ranger costume
Oh,
repainted.
there it was. Scroll down. On the right.
Where?
It looks like he's wearing like football pads.
Oh well, no, that's
Oh, one more.
No,
Isn't that-
all the way on the right.
isn't that
No,
them?
there's like a virtual reality
Anyway,
world or
okay,
something.
Let's get back on.
Yeah,
top.
we're
So
not-
We're answering your question.
No, we're not. We're talking about VR Troopers for an hour.
So your first question comes from Curls Elite. What pre-existing games do you think will translate well on a VR headset? Lawrence, you've actually had the most experience with that sort of stuff because you had a VR headset at one point.
Yeah, which
Then
you're getting ahead
lost
of
it.
yourself. That's a different question. I didn't lose it. I sold it. Anyway, somebody else lost the.
There it is, right there. The top one. That's just
like a bug.
it's a repainted Red Ranger helmet.
Oh, by the way, for the audio listeners, yeah, you should watch the video version. We're having fun. Anyway, So if you think about it, the thing that makes the most sense for a VR helmet is a simulation in which your body doesn't move and you control yourself through some kind of control device. So a controller, a flight stick, a car, like just basically anything where you're piloting something, because it just kind of makes intuitive sense. So like racing games, flight games, those are the big ones that stand out right away. I'm sure as people are smart, they're gonna find ways to support or come up with new experiences that work really well with VR. But I think those are gonna be the first two. And lo and behold, we're already seeing a lot of that, a lot of space flight simulators, which I'm okay with.
I don't know. This is one of those cool things where I'm excited for devs out there who could repurpose their own games. So we always see HD remasters, re-releases, this. VR, I always say this: it is seeing is believing. Once you use it, you get it. Makes sense to you. Everything clicks. So it'd be kind of nice where you can replay old games and people can repurpose them. So rather than getting the HD remake, we get the VR-enabled version with Morpheus and Microsoft's inevitable integration of Oculus into the Xbox One. Yeah, I can see it happening.
I don't know if what Psychonauts. That kind of ties in. That kind of ties in. I think, and tell me if you guys have tried this, but has there been a third person VR game? Like everything goes first person. I guess that's what you want for VR.
They're actually working on those.
Was it Lucky something?
For
Ashley's
me,
here. Sit down, Ashley.
Ashley.
Answer some questions.
For me, here I'll slide
what
this
is
over.
Lucky's Tale?
Something like that.
Lucky's Tale, yeah.
Basically-
I think that's a cool way to go. I think that Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
If you had the Oculus Rift on, and if you were just sitting normal, it's going to be the standard third-person view, right? You don't even have to be first-person perspective. But say you're driving, and you want to look around, you can look around using the Oculus Rift without necessarily moving your hand to the other control stick, and without it feeling like it has to sling back every few seconds.
More of a natural movement.
I think some of these big world games, it's like, just let me control the camera.
Yeah.
Let me control the Super Mario 64. Let me control the camera with where I'm looking in the Oculus Rift.
One of the big problems with the Kinect, they had that implementation for the Xbox games, right, with the racing where you look like this and then you would turn it. The problem is you're then looking away from the screen.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. You have to
It just doesn't-
glance back with your eyes.
Yes, nice idea. I think VR is a better solution for it.
It might be.
Next question from Dovahkiin, 1999. What year was he born in, do you think? Do you guys plan to invest in VR right away, or give it some time to prove that it's worth investing in?
I already did.
I already have an Oculus at home.
There you go.
Which version do you have? The DK2?
said DK2
yes.
before.
Is DK2 Crystal
Code?
Crescent Bay.
Crescent, I know.
That's a
Crescent-
prototype that isn't out yet, I didn't think.
Oh.
What?
That was post DK2, I think. Crescent Bay is what they're taking around all the trade shows now.
Okay, I probably have DK2 then.
Yeah,
I've had
okay.
it for a couple of months.
DK1 is super grainy and really low res.
Lawrence already gave them $300
Yep.
for the first.
And I turned around and sold it for like $280. Those things retain
Wow.
value like crazy, yeah.
Weird. I used it and it was awful. I got I got sick, motion sickness from using it. Like I had it
Oh,
at
really?
I had it at the old office, and I hooked it up and I was doing Legend of Zelda in 3D.
Ooh.
Someone made it, and
Well-
I remember getting actual
sounds
like
awesome.
motion sickness.
You can't, and this may be another question, but a lot of people think you can just take a game, separate out the stereoscopic, and then make it 3D. But there's a lot of fine tuning that goes into not making people barf when they do stuff like that. So yeah,
I'm looking forward
that
to
may
more
have been
HD
symptomatic.
screens. Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it day one as soon as it comes out. I know we always say like early adopters get screwed over, but
Yeah, just be aware that you're putting your money on the line and don't complain
Yeah.
about it after.
I've used the lesser version of it, and now having used the prototypes and the earlier versions, yeah, I'm excited to just buy it day one.
So two of you already have it. Adam is going to get it day one, and I think I'm going to hold off.
Okay.
I think I'm going to hold off, just more, not necessarily because I don't believe in the technology, because I think I've tried it before and it's crazy and awesome. Not sure if it's going to integrate into my regular gaming schedule though. Like it's the same reason I don't know if right now I would run out and buy a new Rock Band Ion drum set.
Yeah.
Like I bought that then and I was like awesome and I use it every single day, but I don't know if I would do that same thing today because I don't know that I'm in the state where I'm like, I'm going to pull this out every single day and play it every single day, and that's how I justify it to myself.
Yeah, I won't. I'm just a sucker for that stuff.
Yeah.
Tech.
Nah.
Yeah.
New gadgets.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm excited for it, and I will probably just end up at someone's place trying to play it when I'm in the mood. So if I call you, then that's because I'm using you.
The good news is you can VR into your own living room and pretend you're at home.
I saw that. Yeah.
Kind of lame.
I don't understand.
that has existed for Oculus for a while. Somebody made a Super Nintendo emulator where you're sitting in a 90s basement playing Super Nintendo on a TV.
I don't get that.
It doesn't, like many Oculus things, it doesn't make sense when you're watching it on a 2D monitor. It seems dumb and stupid, and to a degree it is. But, well, we can talk about that because I'm pretty sure there's a question about Xbox streaming in here, but we'll get there eventually.
Okay. Next from Mr. Baradactyl. Do you actually think the idea has any serious... Do you actually think the idea has any serious longevity? In my opinion, it's another cool-sounding gimmick that will have success but fall off in the not-so-distant future. For example, not many people I know at least play games in 3D. I thought 3DS? I thought 3D was a gimmick.
I love my 3DS.
3DS sold pretty well.
Where's your 3D slider, though?
Max, all the time.
Really?
Boom.
I turned mine off.
Old 3DS, off. New 3DS, on all the time.
Oh, the one that
Yeah,
actually
the
tracks your
viewing
head.
angle,
The new
right?
one's pretty good.
The new one actually does what the 3DS said it did.
She's right.
My wife has a 3DS, and she basically had it off. But anytime I would borrow it and play it, I'd turn it on just a little bit. And I was like, that's the point of this machine, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Whenever I'd get a new game, I would turn it up,
Yeah.
look at it for a few minutes,
Yeah.
Cool.
and then
Cool.
turn it all
Alright,
off.
yes.
A little
Future.
man.
Well, it's funny that we're kind of coming full circle in a weird way, at least in my little life. I remember the first E3 I went to, 2003 or something like that. They were showing Halo 1 with this like box you put on your television on your CRT, and it will convert your TV into 3D.
Ugh.
And you wear glasses that look like bigger than this, and it looked like garbage. Like it hurt, but it was kind of cool because you're like, oh, lasers are coming at me, but it really hurts when I see that. And then they tried the 3D thing for a while. Never really caught on, right? Like any console games. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, there was there were NES 3D games, like Rad Racer had 3D.
Oh no, I'm talking about like you could when 3D TVs became a thing, and they're like you can play Crisis 2 on your Xbox
Black Ops.
360.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it Black Ops you could do in 3D?
So the trick there was essentially
So checked out.
they would use the same technology that this was my understanding. It could be totally wrong, but basically the same technology they have for split screens. You're just rendering the same thing twice, and then it just bumps it over, and then you put on the glasses, and it does it for you.
Yeah.
That was the magic of 3D. From what I understand, it didn't catch on. Using Oculus, it is not 3D. 3D is a gimmick, in my opinion. Oculus is virtual reality, and it's actual. I don't know. It actually changes gameplay.
Actual 3D.
Yeah.
So traditional 3D crams both images into one source of light and then relies on glasses to separate them for you. Oculus delivers two full images to both of your eyeballs, which is how 3D works. That's how vision works. So it kind of bypasses the fuzz of combining and then separating the same picture. So it's the actual thing that stupid 3D glasses purport to be. So it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
It's a gimmick, but that doesn't mean that it won't work.
Yeah. Some gimmicks are good. Some.
That's
Well, it's like-
Actual 3D movies and TV is I don't enjoy personally. It gives me a headache.
All right, well.
Anyone else?
So I guess going to the actual question, does it have longevity? I guess that's the big question, right?
Depends what the adoption of the market's going to
Yeah, I think it really revolves around the comfort level of the experience. If you can put one of these on and it's as comfortable as sitting on your couch and watching a TV, then absolutely. But nobody's had that time with it yet. Theoretically, people at Oculus have, and theoretically, they wouldn't be pushing a product out to market if no one could stomach more than 5 minutes of it. But it's possible they can. These things happen.
There have been companies trying to do VR for years. I remember
Yeah.
the first E3s that I went to in like 2001, I think. You'd go down to Kensha Hall, the one where all the games, the dreams go to die. And there would always be these VR things there that never ended up taking off. But the difference now is that VR is really high profile, and there are a lot of the biggest companies that are getting into it. So I think it actually has a chance. Or it could turn out like 3D TVs where all of the manufacturers care and people don't care.
Yeah, and they try to
falls
push
off.
it, no one buys it. Yeah.
I feel like there's been a lot of R&D going into this, right?
Almost too much,
We've been
yeah.
talking about this for a really, really, really long time, and there still isn't one out.
product, yeah.
You know,
That's what's bothered me.
That as opposed to what you were saying about 3D TVs, it was like, oh, Avatar sold really well. 3D TVs are everywhere. You cannot not buy a 3D TV, and so. I know that's different, but I feel like this is the kind of thing where the people working on it, the hardest, are banking on this being a new way to interact with media. And I think that will probably be the best thing it's got going for it. It's like these really impassioned people. I still think, and this is kind of touching on what we were talking about in Dude Soup about like, but what will it be? Like, what will it be in a living room? You have to get gamers to adopt, but then what will it be for everyone else to make it a huge success? I still think they haven't yet found a way to make it a convenient life option. Like, what can I do with this on that's like more convenient to me than just playing the game normally, or not even playing the game, like going shopping, like listening to music or something like that. How is this assisting me? So I think I'm curious to see if there was like an Oculus app store and it wasn't filled with games.
They had the Oculus Home, which was like the launching screen where potentially they would like show you featured apps and like, here's what's new in the world of Oculus.
Yeah.
Watch this movie. Check out this TV show that's Oculus enabled. That's the idea.
But I think just like Apple and just like Android, it's going to be these app makers that are really going to determine the fate of Oculus.
It's always a white dude with a beard looking up with his jaw hanging down.
He's got dark skin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good for him. Sorry.
You did it, buddy.
Lawrence doesn't see color.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, see, look.
Men with beards.
They all look like they.
What's that about, Adam?
They just want you to know that they're still very
Oh,
manly.
he's got his mouth closed.
Well, the best part was this image right here. I remember the end of the conference was kind of lackluster because Palmer Luckey is just kind of like a normal dude. He's not like a hype man or anything. And he goes, "This is the future," and then it flashes this picture real quick, and I was like,
I'm sold.
"Yeah." I mean, like, oh, this is what it looks like.
This guy holding 2 Fitbits.
So, but yeah, like, I think I know what you were getting at. Like, what's something in here? What is not gaming that would get people interested?
Yeah.
Like, if I would give this to like my wife or like my mom or somebody like that, like, what do you like? My mom's not gonna pick Lucky's Tale or E Valkyrie. It's like, but it's like, oh, some movie I'm interested in, or like see the movie trailer in 3D. Be like, oh, okay, kind of cool.
They are doing some cool things with like movies that you're in the middle of. I saw at South by Southwest someone, I think it was Lon Bui, he had like an Oculus movie. It was filmed for Oculus, so you're in the middle of a shootout. It was really cool. It was super weird to be at a party and putting on Oculus,
Well, I remember
looking like an idiot, but it was cool to see.
Well, they were showing a while ago the Pacific Rim like experience or whatever, where you're in the Jaeger pilot seat. Like, that's a cool way of doing like a movie trailer.
Cool.
So like I could see that with like other game trailers too. Like, say they do like an interactive like Assassin's Creed trailer, and you're in the audience during like a beheading or something like that, and you're seeing the main character do the thing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you can rewatch it from many different angles, and it's like, did you catch all the things? Like, oh, I didn't see everything, and you rewatch the trailer over and over. Like, it could be really good for marketing.
Can I be the bird, though? I want to be the bird.
Next question.
Don't say anything. If you don't say anything, then he'll just go back to what he's saying.
Next question from K GameStar. Have you guys tried out VR before, and what was your experience with it? I think
Yes.
most of us have
We've all tried it.
Has anyone not tried it?
The person
going on in this building
on
right
the
now?
other side of the wall, banging on our wall.
trying to dismantle
You
it.
have rambunctious neighbors.
We do, and we thought we were the rambunctious neighbors, but I don't think that we are.
James was saying the other day he overheard someone in the kitchen be like, "I can't wait for those Rooster Teeth guys to leave."
Well, because then they said that they were going to move in and take our office, which I was like,
You can have it.
More
It's
than
fine.
welcome
We
to it.
stunk it up.
but It was
There's flies
funny,
in
the
here now.
urgency and the subtle urgency in their voice.
I have a couple of very powerful Oculus experiences.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the first time I used an Oculus Rift was at QuakeCon. Shit. It was the night after like the QuakeCon party, so I was super hungover, had almost no sleep. And like I walked into this hotel room and like John Crimack was just sitting there and he's like, "Here, put this on." So threw that thing on, threw the headphones on.
It wasn't an Oculus Rift.
It was just a trash can.
It was a trash
and you
can.
just started banging on it with a
And
spoon.
you're like, I believe.
But it's something that
Takes
nobody
your wallet.
something that you're not prepared for is when you have that on your face and earphones on, you have basically no sensory connection with the outside world
Yeah.
anymore, apart from touch. So you're just like,
Yeah.
and also like my stomach was already feeling pretty bad. Also, it was Doom 3, which was fucking awesome. So I slapped the headphones on, and as soon as that, I'm like taking deep breaths, being like, yeah, I can handle this, I can do this. And after like it was bad for about a minute, like my heart was racing, but after that, I was like getting into it because it kind of felt like, you know, like a Universal Studios ride where you're sitting in a chair and all this awesome shit's happening around you, but you're just kind of like looking at it.
Yeah.
It was like that, but an actual video game with like a controller, and you're controlling everything. And it's also another thing people don't it's hard to explain, but when something is consuming your entire field of view, there's not like a bevel or a border around the screen. It's so much easier to just kind of forget everything else and just lose yourself in that.
It's immersive.
Yeah, exactly.
Make your mouth hang open and your beard
Yeah,
grow
my
out.
beard go out instantly. And then the other one I had, this is gonna be fast.
Good.
I'm pretty sure. So it's gonna be kind of depressing, but don't feel bad for me. It was in the throes of my last breakup. There was one night where I was just drinking myself silly.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's bust out the Oculus. And so I loaded up Half-Life, and I had like a handle of vodka on my desk. So I was like playing Half-Life and stuff, and I was just kind of groping around for it, and I found it, and I was like trying to just drink out of it while I was playing Half-Life 2, but it had the party stopper in the top. So I was like, ugh. So I had to like pop it off like while I had an Oculus Rift on, and I was like swinging from it, thinking I'm probably the first person who's ever popped that little plastic top out of a bottle of vodka with an Oculus Rift on.
That's true.
And
You're
I
a
hope-
pioneer. You're like an astronaut.
Yes.
You'll go down in the history books.
You're
So-
a hero.
Right.
That was a sad story.
My experience with Oculus is great.
Yeah, I look forward to. I've been just waiting for the final version to come out before. I think we might mess with Morpheus at E3. Hopefully.
Probably a lot of Sony's conference is going to be Morpheus.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we
Okay.
could actually demo it.
Well, 'cause is that coming out Q1 of 2016 as well?
I don't think they've announced anything yet.
That's
I'm
the-
sure we'll hear that at the press conference, and they'll probably. I keep saying they're going to call it PSVR.
That got linked by an Austrian retailer. So, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, not an official date yet.
Next question from Rouse Dentis: how long do you think it will be until it is standard to have a full Oculus kit for games? I guess when everyone will have
A
Oculus.
long time.
Yeah, I mean,
I think a long time.
I guess the question is, how long did it take you to get a smartphone or an iPhone, when after you saw that all your friends had one?
I think it's going to take longer than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the
it to be standard?
technology is going to accelerate, but
Or I guess when did you get a flat screen? How long did it? How
Yeah,
long were
but-
flat screens out until you bought one?
again, that goes back to everyone in the household is on board with this, and these are houses with disposable income and prices dropping. What is going on out there?
I don't know.
And prices dropping to
What's
a
the
more
store,
affordable thing.
right? The snack room?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
There's still a pretty high price barrier between someone going, I've never even thought about trying this before, but I think I'll give it a try. Whereas if you go into a Costco, there's a flat TV for like $250. You're like, okay, well, I'll buy a flat TV because I watch TV every single day.
I think that's actually I think the TV thing is going to work in the VR advantage because so many people right now TVs aren't doing anything special. Like it went from hey they're flat, they're thinner, they have apps on it. Now they're curved. Shit, like they're just running out of stuff. They're like,
You can throw a baseball at it.
yeah,
Boom.
it makes a clown noise. I don't know. What do you want from me? And so people are going to go, this is just what people do. They're going to get bored. They're going to be like, TV's all the same. Like, what is this? And like, someone's going to be like, oh, this is a new Oculus Rift. Want to try it? Like, yeah, okay. Holy shit. And they're like, I'm buying this. And then, the guy gets, his wife leaves him. He doesn't notice because he's stuck in the VR world, but everyone's
But he
happy.
has a handle of vodka.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. 4 years from now,
And that man's name is Lord Sontag.
basically once they have mall kiosks where there's like somebody there with like an alcohol wipe and they swab it down and they just shove it on your damn head, and then they show you, like a 2-minute promotional trailer for Fast and Furious 8, and then they're like, it's right here for $250, and it's like end of November. People are like, I get that for the family. Like that'll be a gift for my wife, but it's really for us.
Yeah.
And then-
Seeing it is kind of believing it for that, I
You
think.
still got to convince that household, though. I think
I don't know.
something like HoloLens
People
is more
bought Wii's
poised.
impulsively.
Bought
like
what?
Wii's. So it's like, this is our Wii Sports machine for the family this year.
Yeah, I guess though.
Yeah,
Except
but I know
that it's an
James is
individual
saying-
experience.
Yeah.
Like until you have
you're right.
an Oculus Rift that goes over everyone's head,
Yeah.
and then everyone's in the dome together
That-
doing Oculus, which is awesome. That sounds
pretty
awesome to
sweet.
me.
That image is going to pop up on the internet at some point where there's going to be a family sitting around a
Just
living
all
room
like,
and they're all just...
And they're having a great time.
I'm so fucking excited for that.
I don't know. When I saw
Cyberpunk is shit.
When I saw a kid with an iPhone, I was like, "What the fuck? Like that thing costs $800."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, it's $200 on a contract." It's like, "But give your kid an iPhone."
I think that Oculus Rift may stay out of the mainstream. I think it could be still really successful. I think Morpheus and all these things. I do think though that market that we're discussing may be filled by something more like HoloLens. Something that you can put on that allows you to still interact with the world, but only makes it more convenient.
Something augmented as opposed
Like,
to virtual.
how do I get directions to Pizza Hut? Put on my HoloLens. There's the line on the road. This makes my life easier. Like, things like that, as opposed to Oculus Rift. How do I get to Pizza Hut? I don't know. But look, a virtual pizza.
Oh,
look, I
yum.
can see all the pepperonis. I think that something that makes life more convenient, basically gives you a virtual crutch, is going to be better than something that takes you virtually away to somewhere else.
What about the Facebook aspect?
Don't
Because
they?
they're going to be pimping it hardcore when it comes out.
I mean, I'm interested to see what they're going to do. It's that commercialization that I think is going to be the crux.
Your wall is all around you.
Oh, God. Private.
don't want it, yeah.
Hide.
Didn't they say they wanted like everyone who has a Facebook account to get Oculus?
Of course they want
Sure,
that.
yeah, because they got a lot of people with a Facebook
They make a
account.
shitload of money.
Yeah.
They said something like they wanted to sell 1 billion Oculus wrists.
I want everyone who
thought
has
that was
Facebook to give me
amazing.
I don't know.
$20.
I mean, Disney owns New Line and they own Pixar. It doesn't mean there's going to be a lot of crossover with the audiences.
That's true.
It's like just own the market. Like, I don't know. Facebook doesn't really have much to do with gaming, and they just, they bought Instagram and didn't really touch it.
Yeah.
They're like, we just want the users. Like,
They can make money off of it without blasting Facebook all over it.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think they're worried about putting Facebook. They're just kind of interested in what the future is.
Though their Facebook's natural inclinations for how do we make Facebook an everyday thing could really help
Yeah,
developing for the Oculus.
I think so too.
You want to take the next question?
Sure.
My mouth's getting dry.
Getting dried out.
This is from Ted. It's either Ted Yeshi or Teddy Yeshi. I guess it's the exact same
I
thing.
gave you the hard one on purpose. I'm gonna level with you.
That's all right. So he or she writes, do you think that the high expectations and hype caused by the long development will have an effect on the Oculus when it releases? I don't think it will, precisely because it's still a using is believing kind of thing. So it's not like they can overhype. Maybe they can, but really, the first time you use an Oculus, it really does kind of live up to whatever expectation you have for it.
And
I haven't heard anyone walk away from being like, eh.
Well, they're also just improving it too.
Yeah, they're making it better. So people were using shitty Oculuses and coming out of it going, this is legit.
Yeah.
So when
Google Cardboard.
so when a good Oculus, high resolution, like cheaper, lighter, like you can just pop it on your head and you're good, no wires. Like when that comes out and it's an even better experience, it's hard for me to imagine that even a layperson would be unsatisfied.
Also, Sword Art Online in 3D.
Fucking finally.
Oh, I got so many ads.
Kirito.
So many ads. Thanks to YouTube. Okay.
That doesn't look as good as the show though.
I've never seen it.
Boom. That's all right. Starts off good.
Next from I don't know, Lethem95.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think developers will get on board with the Rift, or will you see it as a gimmick like the PS Move and the Kinect?
That's a good question. I think money talks.
Yeah.
They're throwing $10 million at it. People are going to make games for it even if they don't sell because they're getting paid. Now, that's to get it off the ground. It remains to be seen after that if people are going to spend money on Oculus games and experiences.
It's also worth noting, though, that the focus for Oculus is PC, where
That's
a
true.
lot of developers have a lot easier time doing wacky stuff. There's a food truck simulator on Steam.
Ugh.
People just do crazy stuff that's super niche, and they don't care, and they have the freedom to because it's PC.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see a lot more for Oculus because of that, even if it is super weird, crazy stuff. Like, was it one where you go to school as a dolphin?
Was it an Oculus game? Neat.
You can't see yourself. It's like, trust us, you're a dolphin.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that games don't have to make that big of a leap from what
I
they
think you're right.
are to being an Oculus game. I think that's the bigger thing. Whereas like, all right, so you stand in front of a camera and then you move your arms and then that controls the game. Now,
The dolphin
like
game.
now you have to rethink how you're going to design the whole game. Like we want it to be a Star Wars game. It's like, all right, well, how do we make this a Star Wars game?
Then
like,
you end up with dancing minigames.
well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say the one thing that made sense if everyone got together
Why is
and
your
they were
giant
talking
face
about
in the way?
Kinect
Okay.
and everyone was like, dancing makes a lot of sense for
Oh, yeah, I played this, but I didn't know it was Oculus enabled. This is where you have to like cheat off of everybody else. Like, like the teacher's walking around, you got to lean over and like look off other people's. Yeah, see. Oh, look at them.
this. You can't see it. Oh,
Yeah, you can like lean forward and stuff.
That's funny.
I mean, but like something like this, you could do with sticks.
Yeah.
If you wanted to play this game
That's how
with
I played
sticks,
it.
you could, right? So, I don't think it's that big of a leap for people developers especially, to make games that are Oculus enabled.
Oh, you got busted.
Just give them control
This
of
is
the
freaky.
first-person perspective that's already been dominating most games anyway.
I guess that's the big thing. Yeah, it's not. It is a gimmick, but it's not. Like, it's not a gimmick that requires the game to change and be specific for Oculus. So, developers can kind of hedge their bets. It's a fun game, whether it's on Oculus or not. Oculus just makes it look cooler.
I would say it's on Oculus to make it easy for developers. with any, same with any sort of development. Basically, it's like just give them the tools, and if the developers want to use it, let them do it. And if it sells more because it has this gimmick, then you're just gonna see more of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure it was a gimmick when you first played a game and you touched it on a screen. You're like, gimmick.
You're right.
Now they all
Early
do that.
DS, people had like, everybody was like, this is cool and all, but we're pretty sure this is not going to go anywhere. And here we are 10 years later.
And now Marvel Puzzle Quest is the biggest game in the world.
Yes.
It's not. This is I'm just there to say stuff. Could Oculus ever grow so popular that it can transcend the video game platform and go to TV shows, especially with 360-degree views stitched together using multiple cameras on YouTube?
Well, they
How apropos.
Yeah.
didn't
know.
they actually announce, or they said something. I don't know if it was Oculus or if it was one of the other VR developments that said that they thought the killer app was not going to be games; it was going to be media.
I think to kind of James's point, that's going to be key to breaking into the mass market. I think once you say like, you can watch How I Met Your Mother, full 3D, you can be on the set. That's gonna. I love this ad.
I've never seen this.
It's gonna change a lot of production. Like you can't filming in 3D is tough because you've got
That
like.
place looks familiar.
Yeah.
Oh
But,
yeah.
so I guess we've talked about doing this exact podcast,
Yeah.
like this video right here, the behind the scenes 360 video done at the Austin studio. We want to do the podcast like this so that the user could control.
So if you want to keep it on me the whole time, you can.
Yeah,
And
I
if
guess.
you want to not keep it on me, you can just turn the video off.
And it's not so much that we're like, this is the future. This is what I was like. I'm just genuinely curious. I want to see what it looks like, and like it'd be kind of cool to watch, a bunch of lame dudes sitting in a room talking, but be able to like control the camera. Like I like the interactivity. Hey, is that you can't zoom in, can you?
Enhance.
Yeah, Jordan.
That looks like Jordan.
That's definitely Jordan.
When this is like, yeah.
You can tell because he looks tidy even when he's behind shelves.
But I just, I love the fact that you can interact with it, and that if you can start doing this with more media, I think it adds replay value. It sounds weird saying replay value to
I wonder what
like
I
a
missed.
movie. Yeah. Like I don't know. It's like I feel like you could watch like this will make sense for like ARGs and stuff, but like you can rewatch a scene over and over and try to find clues because you may have missed something like when you're looking at it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'd be a thing too where people can cut together movies. Like the scenes exist and people can go through the whole thing and decide like what camera angles and put together movie packages for everyone else.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, and I've said
That'd be
before,
fun.
I think the media, the place where it transcends is concerts. I think concerts would be huge.
Yeah.
Once you tell someone they have the option to see the show.
Well, get a load of this.
No.
What about a concert where none of the people are real? So you can have a concert, like for Vocaloids, or even once 3D rendering gets good enough, you can just make up a rock band or an EDM
Yeah.
band. Or
Well, I
whatever.
was saying if Deadmau5 wanted to be a total dick and be super smart about it, he could do this thing where he's like, I'm going to play 10 shows in one day. People are like, oh my God. It's like, where's a helmet? So he could theoretically be playing in like,
Yeah,
all
you're
these
right.
cities,
It's kind of already happening.
but it's a different person. And I guarantee most of the people would not pick up on it.
No, of course not. They're
They'd be
just there
like-
to do drugs.
Yeah, well, they're there to do drugs and see a guy with a mouse helmet,
It lights up.
He could just, I know he produces more stuff during a live show, but like he could just hit play on the laptop and make $1 billion in one night. If you're
Boom.
listening, Deadmau5,
$1
like a cutter.
billion.
I guarantee 1
10
billion.
concerts. $1 billion.
Next question. S15 Halo is Magic writes, if possible, would you make a Funhaus office tour that you can view with the Oculus Rift?
Totally.
Well, we just started talking about it.
Sure.
We already have ideas Adam came up with to do this very thing in an Oculus enabled environment.
We just don't want to do it here at this office. It's kind of small. The new place we're moving to is much bigger,
Yeah.
and there'd be more going on. I think right now this would be kind of boring. You just see Spool,
Also, the setup
sad.
isn't
That's
cheap.
Cool.
The setup to do
yeah.
what we just saw with all the rotating camera and stuff is not cheap.
It's not
Ryan
cheap,
might
but it's
lend you
not.
his stuff.
Yeah, actually,
Counting on it.
actually, yeah. Jack flies. Maybe I'll ask Jack to bring it if they don't need all those GoPros.
Doing it
'cause-
tomorrow.
yeah,
We'll
shit,
see you
in the Rift.
in the Rift.
But yeah, you have to buy what is it, like 6 GoPros or something like that?
Something.
And 3D print a harness. I'm sure
they're-
all this
they're-
stuff will become standard.
They're starting to
Yeah.
sell them. So Ryan Haywood printed out his own
Yeah.
cradle. I remember he used it for Let's Play Live. I haven't seen the footage of it yet, but It just comes down to like render time and all that stuff. It ends up being, I think, the more expensive part is your time.
Yeah.
Like how long does it take you to put sync and stitch all this video together? We haven't done it yet. But yeah, like
Eventually they'll have cameras with onboard processing that will encode them in real time.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And then
And we'll live stream it.
You hit stop, it processes for 30 seconds and spits out an MP4 or whatever with all your video data in it.
So yeah, we probably will.
All right.
Edo2407, do you think with VR porn will enter the gaming industry? I mean, there are games that have pictures and videos, but this is a whole new world to explore! Exclamation point.
It already has.
Yeah, you're already there.
Yeah, there are.
You're looking at it.
There are already porn games.
Have you played any Oculus porn games?
Played.
You can lie if you
Sort
want to,
of. Sort of. So
That's interesting.
the same night kicked off with a bout of adult games on Oculus. They're all really bad. They're all really laughably bad.
Yeah.
It's like, if
But
you
there are no non-porn games that are not laughably bad.
like there's Half-Life 2. What do you mean?
What?
No, like porn games.
Oh,
Like,
sorry.
Are there any porn games? Have you ever played a porn game that isn't laughably bad?
I have played a few porn games that none of them are erotic.
Yeah, I
I'll
know.
start there.
Yeah.
But they're not all horrifically comically awful. There are like some dating sims and stuff that are decently written and require some amount of attention. Like you can't just click through and get laid. But
You're losing me.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't sound like porn.
I mean, there's like Honey Pop and stuff where it's just a match 3 and that's enough.
Yeah.
On
Again,
top-
I don't know if those are porn games.
So you're just saying like the raw lovemaking is interactive?
I don't know. I'm asking what was the one that you did?
So the early Oculus demos I played were barely games. It was like Sexy Fairy, and it would just be like this weird hollow soulless husk of a computer model,
Just
like
animated up and
just
down.
like sitting. Not even that, just like sitting on a mushroom, like an actual mushroom in a
Okay.
forest, like an enchanted forest. So I spent more time like looking at the water and the trees.
Oh.
There was like another creepy soulless anime girl like getting screwed by an invisible dick. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like.
I've seen.
It's like it's like going to Mexico. You like watch it and you're like, it's there and it's not attractive and I don't want to be here. So I've seen it and now I'm gonna leave.
Sayonara.
There was someone built their own like boob squeezing simulator with Oculus.
Yeah.
Was it using that weird 3D mouse?
Yeah. How do you? Oh, the
one where you're
Novant Falcon.
I think they had something. They basically put
It's not playing
together like a harness and the squeezy bits in a bra on a thing, and then there was just a video of them doing. They had the Oculus mask on, and they were just doing this.
So the display is just like some lady going like, "Yeah, that's great. You're really nailing it right now, man. I'm hot.
Yeah.
You're the best."
You're
Pretty
killing
much.
me.
I mean, what else?
Just like real life.
What other
Yeah, what
purpose
else?
is there for that game?
That's
It's
right.
Like,
Well,
are
there's-
you gonna play a game where a girl
She-
says no, don't do
She
that?
she very sexually tolerates what you're doing. Yeah.
Right.
Like that's great. She's like looking at me. You want to go eat now or no? Okay, keep going.
Can we snuggle?
Yeah.
They have
We-
that.
we-
That's when you take the helmet off and you
We
leave.
need to talk.
They have that thing that's mounted. It's like a fleshlight that's mounted
Yeah,
at
I've seen
crotch
that.
level, right? And then so you can look around, but it like you basically like have to be hands up. It's like fucking in prison.
It's like the champagne room. No touch. They can do whatever they
no
want.
touch, no touch, except for my penis in your
Yeah.
virtual
Maybe
vagina.
it's just like a glory hole simulator.
Oh yeah, that's good.
That'd be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
You hold
So
on
what?
to
You're
the
just
desk.
staring at a wall while like.
Yeah. Well, you can look down and you can see your penis going into the
Your
hole.
Okay.
virtual penis.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
Can you
it's
make it
actually
bigger?
You
Yeah.
can
Black
make
dick.
it
Blacker.
anytime
Change
you
the
want.
Darker.
There should be like dials on the wall you can
Yeah.
change to like alter your dick.
Just sliders. Like
Real-time dick
more
enhancement.
veins.
Shaft Shots, the video game.
Ooh, I like it.
You can make it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. If
I don't know where we
porn-
started here.
I was thinking about porn.
I was asking about
Take the next
adult
one.
games. You can move on.
Got
Yeah.
distracted.
Sammy Fist 999 writes, "How far do you think VR will develop from the goggles we see today? Can you see yourself ditching the mouse and keyboard / controller for a VR chamber, where you have to actually trek to the full length of the map on a treadmill or something, or some stupid futury shit like that?
Yeah.
They do that though, right? With that 360-degree treadmill.
The Omniball, what's it called?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Omni
Something.
something.
Man,
I wanted to try it one of those.
I wanted to as well.
I didn't. The line was way too long. I think it was last E3 they, had
They
it
did
there,
it.
right?
We were at PAX and remember
Oh,
we
it
like
was
put our
PAX.
names in.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They're like, we'll text you. We're like,
Never got
no,
a
you
text.
won't. We never got that text.
I don't want to climb in there. Can you imagine getting into like an enclosed ball that's had E3 attendees in it, doing mod
Well,
levels of
you
exercise?
only touch it with your feet, though.
Yeah, but it's still gonna smell in there.
Yeah, but
No,
it smells
the-
in here too.
Yeah,
That's true.
if it's an actual chamber, that would be.
It's ventilation.
I don't know.
That's
I
what
think-
it's designed for.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's gonna find a happy medium somewhere where, because everyone has a different apartment, house, shoebox, something. So it's gonna be different for everybody. Obviously, I think it's actually, this is the weird thing where I think virtual reality might start to make people be a bit more social. So to get the best out of like a virtual reality experience, you might have to go to like a laser tag type arena or like a family fun center type thing and actually interact with other people to get the most out of it.
An episode of Futurama.
Yeah, I
they're,
mean
like, laser
that's
tagging each other?
well, like they were showing the controller at the conference, and there's basically 2 little controllers with haptic feedback, and like that's pretty freaking cool.
Well, think about how much money you could save on amusement parks and entertainment, like things like that.
Disney VR. Yeah.
If it was like an Oculus Rift, but it was on a hydraulically controlled chair, or like it had chambers like the big ball that you could walk around in, still huge cost. Like I'm sure even if we flat forward 10 years, things like this are going to be really, really expensive
already
and
have
not
that
necessarily household items. But
they have that in movie theaters. That's
Star
like
Wars?
in
D-Box?
yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm saying beyond that, like Disney could front the cash for that, and then people would still go, and then they'd basically be able to do that.
Yeah.
Take
Like,
your kids to Disneyland VR for $10.
arcades
instead of-
coming back.
Well, you could load up like 20 people for a 5-minute ride, get them out, get the next people. Like Imagineering it, you get a lot more people through an attraction that way too.
Yeah, yeah.
You're thinking like a Disney employee.
Hey.
I think that's where we're going to see it. We're going to see corporate implementation of like fully realized 3D worlds, and then by the time this person who asked the question's dead, then we'll start to see the other stuff coming.
Like actual like sensory immersion type stuff. Like put this piece of tape on the back of your neck and
Is the
you'll-
person
like
asking
the-
the question
Like
holding us back?
Existence?
What's up?
Yeah. I haven't seen that yet. I'm really excited to though.
Oh man, you gotta see Existence.
It's my
I have to
it's-
call it Existence
Existence.
because it's got the zzz on the end.
I've got my new infatuation is with movies that came out from 1998 to 2003, and that is smack in the middle.
Strange Days.
Exactly.
X versus Sever.
Yes. You guys are on board.
Oh,
Ballistics.
man.
It's
Oh, yeah,
called
it's
Ballistic.
Ballistics.
X versus Sever.
You're like, is this based on a comic or something? Nope, original script. You're like, wow, it's really crappy.
No, wasn't it based on a video game?
Well, they came out at the same time. I don't know which one was first.
The video game came out like on the DS or
Everybody
something like
lost.
that.
It's
The
Game Boy
GameCube.
Advance, man.
We all lose this one. All right, next question.
Weed O Monkey, or just Weed Monkey, writes, people tend to overlook the actual partnership, in all caps, with Xbox One and Oculus and jump to the virtual streaming service. This is something that looks pretty lame at a press conference, but is actually pretty cool when you experience it. With a partnership and Microsoft's foot in the door, do you expect this to go further, perhaps having full Oculus support for Xbox games?
I don't think the Oculus that we're seeing right now is going to work on the Xbox. I think they're going to work on a Xbox version like Morpheus, but they're going to partner with Oculus, and after they buy PT, they're going to have the horror game of the year on their system with virtual reality, and PewDiePie is going to play it.
You
and it's
shut
gonna
your
make $1
mouth.
billion.
Those are rumors.
Oh, it is a rumor. Well, I'm just saying. After we saw this, I'm like, this makes a lot more sense. Why
That's
they
what
would
I
try to
said.
buy PT?
No.
That's what I
It's-
said. As
it's
soon as he
absolute
walked
gibberish.
out, Lawrence was like, Phil Spencer's there. I was like, boom.
PT.
What would make perfect sense for that?
Look at that.
Yeah.
You know what
Norman
makes-
Reedus hasn't done any hard motion capture. Not if it's an Oculus game. You don't need any motion capture.
You just need the hands.
You are the
You
motion.
need the hands.
Need to capture those hands, though.
He has pretty hands.
Feet, I want feet.
So
he was talking about like the streaming to the
Stuffy.
living room sort of thing. Because
HoloLens?
Oh,
yeah. Oh wait. Oh, that's what he's talking about.
No.
HoloLens?
He's just talking. I thought you were talking about that. No, he's just talking about.
No one's talking about HoloLens.
So I think it's actually
I
conceivable
like
that.
HoloLens.
I like
No, I'm just saying no one's talking about it though.
Yeah, they're not.
We
There's
can
not much to talk
You want
about.
to talk about it?
Not yet.
HoloLens.
You had to wait for a
best.
question. I think it's conceivable that an Xbox could have native Oculus support. The question comes down to rendering power. Instead of rendering one image, you're rendering two.
Yeah.
But if it halved the resolution, like it could do it. So I think it's possible. I think it's more likely that like PCs are obviously way ahead technologically.
I was saying, just is the PS4 doing it? Then Xbox
Yeah.
will probably do it. Like the controller redesign. You can do the headphone thing now, where you can like
Oh yeah.
you can stream the audio to the controller. So it's like
Thank God. I thought that Oculus has said earlier that they had no intention of doing a console version because console hardware was so limited in comparison to PC.
okay.
Yeah, I mean they probably want to debut it on PC because early adopters typically have higher standards too. So if like
It depends how big of a pile of cash Microsoft weighed in front of Oculus and said, "What'd you say?"
Make
also
this work.
Yeah.
how progressive is it of Microsoft to jump on that and like get every Oculus to ship with an Xbox controller? Just to basically what they're doing is they're associating their brand with gaming on PC, which is what Phil Spencer said they were going to do. And I think this is one of the first steps
This
of
is a
them
smart
doing
move.
that.
And that they
Very
need
smart.
to do. 'Cause
Yeah, what they need to do, too.
They need to do so much to recover from just the public perception of, was it
Games for Windows Live.
Windows
Games for Windows Live
Live.
and the original Xbox launch, and they're making good steps. I mean, that's smart. Those are
Phil
very
Spencer's very aggressive and very smart about how he speaks to that audience.
Yes, finger on the pulse, yo.
Although and Windows 10. So if you get your Oculus and you want to use your new Xbox controller, you have to upgrade, which is also free if you
Yeah.
have Windows 7 or 8 to Windows 10. So it all kind of paints this really interesting and powerful picture of where we want everyone on Windows 10. We want everyone using Microsoft hardware and Microsoft platforms.
Yeah,
And turns out you get that way by giving it away.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
very cool. Okay.
All right, NRay7882 writes, looking back at the announcement of the Kinect, the promo video and stage demo got me real excited for the future of gaming, but all that fizzled when I saw how it worked in reality. I know the Oculus Rift hasn't officially released yet, and the game support and community will grow in time, but has anyone at Funhaus had hands-on time with the latest dev kit, where your impressions changed from when you saw videos of the game/device versus actually using it?
I think
you can actually be the one to
Ashley's
speak.
been messing with it the most, right?
I feel like it's better to use it. I was skeptical when I saw it, maybe because I've seen so many years of failed VR ideas. And I was skeptical about this one, but actually using it convinced me a lot. Whereas I think that with Kinect, when you saw it, it looked better than actually using it. That said, I think Xbox One's Kinect is a lot better than 360's. But still, I think Oculus is a better experience to actually have for yourself. So it's the opposite, really.
Okay. So it definitely survives that preconception to experience barrier?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
The last time I even used Oculus was last E3. I went to the booth and I played Alien, the newest one,
Isolation? Oh.
and I think I played for a total of 3 minutes.
You pee yours that stuff?
A little bit.
Little pee-pee
It was amazing though when the alien killed you. You looked down and you saw it. And you're
Oh.
like, and I was like, cool. I never want to do this again. It was freaky. Scary games scare me. So, yeah. Oh.
I think the benefit to it is, and this also helps to the hype building, is that it's hard to explain. It's like, well, it's just like real life. It's like it's the game, but you can look around and it's like, well, I've done VR before. It's like, yeah, but those weren't right. Those are not good. And there's no real way to show it. Like if you like we were doing, look up Oculus footage. It's two screens that
Yeah.
are giant ovals. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so that almost undersells it. So that way, when you actually put it on, you're like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
yes, I am in it.
Well, I don't know. Even like Markiplier doing horror games with the Oculus on and getting millions of views. I think it's interesting enough to enough people that there's a curiosity element to it.
Yeah.
Like where I think enough people get it. They're like, oh, okay, this is VR.
Well,
Like,
you
at
can
least
only
the
experience it
younger audience.
vicariously right now, and I think that's what
Yeah.
people are doing. To James's point, flashing back to my QuakeCon experience, I remember Carmack talking about it, and he said, this is the first tech that I've used in a long time that you don't have to convince yourself is good. Like, I remember with the Kinect, I'd be like, fuck the goddamn thing. And I'd be like, maybe I'll get used to it. Like, maybe it'll get better in time. It's okay. Like, it's a good idea. There's a lot of that convincing yourself that this is a good thing. You put an Oculus on and you're like, yeah, that's it. They got it.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably going to be the big step there, the big difference between these. You get sold on an idea and then you put in the money and you feel like you have to justify it yourself after when it's not everything you thought it would be. But you slap an Oculus on your face and you're like, yep, there it is. That's it. I don't have to try because it's already there.
I think another thing too, going to what he said about like Kinect promo, the Kinect promo, it got him excited. If you see
Oh, yeah.
a group of people that look like they're having a great time, here's a general rule for all accessories in terms of gaming. If it starts with a little girl using it, and then once she uses it, she turns to her mom and tells her how much she's enjoying it, it's probably shit. Like, it's probably not that good, because that means they hired actors, they brought people in
Yeah.
to experience it, right?
Yeah.
Even though they were just being told to act and perform a certain way, and then go off and do that.
Are they actually interacting with a video game, or is it a 3D render of a green monster? And does the kid look a little too pretty to be 13 years old? Like, he should probably have a little more acne.
He or she should
It's
have acne.
usually he. It's usually.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the kid with the skateboard in the Kinect video. That was
Oh, man.
scanning his skateboard. And
That was
just like,
awesome.
I remember seeing that and be like, wow, that's so cool. And then after they showed Tony
We never
Hawk
did get
Ride-
to
It was
scan
full
in on
BS. It's because the
skateboards.
whole thing was bullshit.
No, it was all fake. It was the worst thing. Anyway.
You gotta give Oculus a little bit of credit. They show people using it and looking dumb.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You
Like,
can't look cool using the Oculus.
it's a good sign that everyone using the Oculus is like slack-jawed and silent.
Yeah.
It's because it's actually working.
Well, because every time you see a movie or something like
Someone's
that,
playing a video.
yeah,
You know
it's like,
that's
have
fake.
you ever actually seen someone play a video game? You just stare, you go off into trance mode. You don't look cool,
No,
which is fine.
you absolutely do not look cool using an Oculus, but that's okay.
One second, next one.
Michael B. 04. Do you
Michael
think more
Bean.
people will be into gaming after they experience the Oculus Rift?
Like,
No.
no.
I don't think it's going to cast a wider net across the gaming sphere.
I think so. Okay, the way it could play out is you get Oculus in people's homes because of things like music and movies, and then through the Oculus portal they discover more casual type games like just throw a ball and it rolls into a hole. It's like, corn toss except virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's conceivable that they will graduate up through that to more like core games that people on YouTube would say are real games. But I think there's a big possibility of like phone social like casino games getting pretty big on Oculus, especially when like parents start using it because they watch TV shows and now they're like, well, I'm gonna wait till the next show comes on. I'm gonna play this card game for a little bit, and then it, from there they graduate up to Clash of Clans or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that could happen.
Yeah, I guess so. Like a game like this. This is Elite Dangerous, right?
No, this is Eve's Valkyrie.
Eve Valkyrie. yeah.
Valkyrie. Well, like
looks amazing.
flight simulators are like a whole different. I would like to look at the demographic of people that plays flight simulators. Like I feel like it's like
Late
dudes,
30s.
over the age of 38, like
Space though.
that
that
don't
glint in your
necessarily
eye right
play
now.
anything else. And I think that if you could give them an Oculus Rift and they sit down and they didn't previously have any interest in this, I think they would be like, well, I may not play other games, but I am definitely going to play this game where I fly around in space.
So those are the same guys who convert their entire desk into
Yeah.
like an F-16 like cockpit.
Yeah.
Like that's a different level of like gamer. But like I don't know if it's the sort of thing like I don't think I give my mom an Oculus Rift and she's like, I want to play Uncharted now. Like that's not going to
No.
happen.
Yeah.
But people have been playing bridge for a long time, so whatever digital equivalent of that they can play in VR, they will.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you count as gaming. If you're gonna count the casino games and the Clash of Clans and all that sort of stuff as gaming, then yes. But I don't think that demographic necessarily, you're right, translates into
No, I don't think so.
suddenly like, oh, I got this Oculus Rift for watching movies, but now I really like Gears of War.
I mean, some of that conversion does happen.
Bitch.
My girlfriend used to work for PopCap, and she would get these grannies who would just write the most profane, terrible, like letters because like coins went on sale. So casual gamers do get invested in that experience to the degree that even hardcore gamers do.
Grandmothers.
Yeah, basically. So
nothing else to do.
maybe part of it.
Anyway.
I don't know.
It'll make some novel YouTube videos if it
Yeah.
hasn't already of grandma playing blah 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 on the Oculus. But yeah, I don't think it's a conversion tool. If anything, it's a conversion tool to get people on board with VR. That's the first step.
Yeah.
Before even going like, not that it's a problem. Like we need more people playing games. Like it's doing just fine. Don't worry about it. So yeah, not too worried about that. God damn, I want to play this game.
Wait till Second Life.
When does this come out? Is this launching with the Oculus?
I think it's officially in development now, but I don't know if it's launching. I didn't catch that part of the
God damn.
event.
Which one are we on?
Parents?
We're on now
Wait, no,
Gucci.
difficult.
Oh yeah.
Now Gucci, that's my Mufni.
Ashley said the name, so I don't have to. How much more difficult is development for Oculus Rift games in comparison to regular video games? What are your predictions on how this industry will be different from that of, say, console games? Well, we don't make games, so I don't know if we really know. But how quickly people have been converting it seems to be pretty easy, right?
Yeah, a base level conversion, super easy. All you have to do is separate out your camera points and then render two images at the same time. So that is really easy to do. The problem is usability factors. So say like Half-Life 2. It's really easy to just separate out the rendering, deliver two images, and bam, it's in 3D. The problem is things like HUD, readable text, aiming. Those things require a little tweaking, like field of view. So it's simple to make it work. It requires a degree of elegance to make it work correctly. But still, I think a lot of those things are pretty easy to figure out. It's not like starting over. It's not like motion controls, which I don't think anyone ever really figured out. Well, I guess it is motion controls. They have the little thingies. But if it's just controller Oculus games, I think conversion is pretty simple. It just takes a group of people some time to figure out the little hitches.
Yeah, and then on the note of him saying, or she, what are your predictions of how the industry will be different from that of, say, console games? I don't know. This to me is just like what
It's all gaming.
This was basically what motion control was. Nintendo did it first, and then Sony and Microsoft picked up on it, except by the time everyone figured out that it was a gimmick, it was too late, and Microsoft and Sony had already invested.
Nintendo had all the money,
Yeah.
and they're like, nope, screens and buttons now.
Tricked you, we're out. Later.
Zing.
Turns out motion control's garbage. That's how I feel. I don't know if you guys actually enjoyed it. I'm sorry if you did.
There were things that did it well, and most things did it wrong.
Red Steel 2 was
I
pretty
did
fun.
love my dance games.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just Dance was pretty good.
I was saying anything that actually required any
Dance
sort of
Central,
accuracy or control, things that I enjoy in video games,
Yeah.
just didn't work. Like I tried playing the first Red Steel. Remember I had my gun. It's just
Hey,
Well-
guess who worked on Red Steel? This girl. I was
Bias.
in marketing. I didn't
Oh,
make
wow.
it.
okay.
I totally worked.
You can still talk
worked on
shit about it.
was a lot
That's
of
fun.
fun.
It's
It wasn't finished.
yeah.
No,
Well,
it was. I mean, it was like one of those launch titles where you go, I see the idea.
Right. It was
behind
absolutely
this."
that. Red Steel 2 was like the game. It worked, but everyone had checked out by that point, which is sad.
You're a cowboy with a gun.
Yeah, it was actually pretty. It was basically like Trigun the game, and all the swordplay actually really worked. It was fucking awesome. Don't
Vash
play
the
it.
Stampede doesn't use a sword. You know
He
that.
should though. Wouldn't that be cool?
I like his big gun.
Big mutant arm cannon.
Frothy and unfiltered.
Ew.
How do you think parents will react to buying/allowing their kids to play games using VR? Is it any different than playing a game on a television or a phone/tablet screen? Do you see any controversy rising over this subject in the future?
I absolutely do, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like the next Moral Panic. Oh, the kid's getting addicted to VR.
Yeah.
Like just because their kid is playing games all the time.
Yeah, they're going to be like, he's been up there for hours, this thing on his face, as opposed, but beforehand, like a week before he
was just on
bought
his
the
phone.
Oculus Rift, yeah, he was upstairs in his room on his phone, like doing the exact same thing or playing his, Xbox.
It's a weird thing, like that. How that has a connotation to it. So like you could either be upstairs in your room for 4 hours. You could either be there reading a book, writing something,
Books are smart.
watching TV, or playing a game. Usually, if you put enough people in a room, they'll say that person's wasting their time if they're playing the game.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing anything else, they're like, oh no, he's exercising his brain. It's like, oh, he's reading. That's good. It's good. It's like, well, they're all kind of similar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never really understood the negative connotation that comes with playing games.
Mike.
Like I still feel it too. Like I think I still get that, like from when I was a kid. Like if I my wife and I are like watching something and I'm like, I want to go play a game, I feel bad. I don't know what it is. Like I'm doing like
a
it's
step down from sitting in front of a TV that you're not even interacting with.
exactly. It's
I always
strange.
thought it was better to play games
I think
because
so,
then
too.
at least you're interacting with something and your brain is doing something as opposed to just shutting down and absorbing the pictures coming in.
Yeah.
Remember, my parents would get really upset at me for playing games, and my sister would be in her room, watching The Craft on VHS or whatever. But I would be playing like Sim City, and I would be like, look, I'm trying to figure out tax rates for my city right now. I'm doing something, and then my sister would just be like watching TV.
Which is
Craft.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
She's like, I think I want a Ouija board now.
yeah. So it was so strange to me that preconception, that double standard.
Yeah.
And whenever I explained to my dad like how the game worked, he was like, "Oh, it actually sounds like there's a lot of merit to that." So I had to talk him through it, but there was that preconception there that it was bad and rotting my brain and all that.
strange.
I think what this is best summarized by an image that I saw a really long time ago that I loved, and it's like an image from 1936 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it's just New York City, and everyone is wearing a hat. Like it's just a bunch of men on the sidewalk. Everyone's wearing a hat, walking somewhere, and they all have newspapers. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
that's what they did. They just disappeared. I think it's just human nature. A new thing will come along and people will get upset about it, but like this is what people were doing before. Like they had newspapers in front of their face, and it's like you're just reading that newspaper. It's gonna rot your brain, or like it's just whatever. But now,
Well, right
if
now
you're
it's
reading a
even-
newspaper, no one's gonna be like, "Hey, what are you doing, buddy? Get your head out of that newspaper."
Well, it's like right now, if you're on a laptop, you're either doing work or writing your script for the next Hollywood movie.
Can't wait to see it.
But if you're on your phone, it's like, oh, you're just wasting time.
Yeah.
It's like, but I could do the same thing on both. Like, it's just something, like, yeah, as time progresses, certain things still have that negative viewpoint.
Yeah, when I was more of a games reporter, I would go to meetings and stuff, and I would always take like a physical notepad and write because you never had to deal with the conception that you were just texting or fucking around on your laptop. Like I always got received a lot better and a lot more professionally when I had a pen and a pad of paper.
You also had that hat with the press.
Yeah,
slip
I
in
wrote
it.
my own card.
Yeah.
And except I'm bad at writing, so some of the letters were messed up.
The meeting would end, you'd run out
To
and
the
then
phone
hit a
booth.
phone booth and
Yep.
just fall over.
Yep. We got the
Those
scoop.
days.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Chief.
Fambini, if Oculus is the next step in gaming entertainment, what do you guys think is the next step?
That
Bouncy
treadmill
castles?
thing.
You stick your dick in something. It's like, okay, so it's like, you know how in
sticking.
RoboCop when he makes the little spike shootout and he like, that's how he like
His USB
uploads?
stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys will have an orifice that they jam in. Ladies will have an extension. And you just jam it in there and then you go slack and let it do whatever it wants to do.
So dudes get digital vaginas and women get digital penises?
yeah. Well, no.
Finally.
The vagina and penis is physical, but that's how you like jack in, pun intended, to the Matrix. So you just kind of get there and then you just kind of like go limp and then you're like flying through a digital skate.
Ooh, Lawnmower
So,
Man.
wait,
Yeah.
I have to put an outie in my innie for
Yep.
this next step? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Don't worry about it. It'll be custom.
Yeah.
I'll take little plaster molds and
I know, I just have to do a lot of kegels.
So
you don't have to hold it.
It's in there. It's attached.
As always, I think the future is being shown to us early by Microsoft, like they did with the Surface before iPads became a thing. I think they're probably doing it too big and loud in the form of HoloLens. But I honestly think the future is going to be augmented reality. I think that's where it's going.
Yeah.
The fact that Google's doing a patent on contact lenses that can perceive a Wi-Fi signal or something and augment your world. And then biometrics. Like it's just going to get to that point where there was that one moment that that like Watch Dogs did where you can just like play a virtual game in the game.
Yeah.
You ever see that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
The little
So, like,
Space
any-
Invaders thing?
Yeah, at any point you can like play like a Space Invaders game, but it's like it's in the world, but it's all only you as Aiden Pierce can see it.
Yeah.
And you like shoot stuff like that, like but it's in his eyeballs. Yeah, I think that's where we're eventually going to go, and that's just going to be like a little nano machine in our neck or something like that. But
Well,
that's down the line.
and in that direction, would you say that Google Glass was was a start on that path even before HoloLens?
Sure. I mean, it's a variation of this is what you always see. So like, you know, before everything was a touchscreen, it was a giant table that Microsoft's like, everyone's going to want this $10,000 thing. And like, no, we want small little cell phones. So it just kind of takes a while. So you're going to see a lot of iterations. I just feel like this generation that we are, where tech is basically it goes from these like giant steps to these incremental steps. Everyone is just a beta tester. We're just constantly beta testing for the next 500 years until it's perfected, and then we all live in the cloud.
Transcendence.
Yeah, we all Johnny Depp it.
Become balls of light pulsing throughout the galaxy.
I can't wait.
All right, I think we got time for a couple more questions.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, Moon Monster writes, and I picked this one for you, Adam. You talked about music in the last podcast, but do you ever see sporting events becoming something Oculus could
No,
utilize?
100%. I think we're just a bunch of little girls.
Yeah,
and
we
don't.
we're big nerds.
Yeah, I'm just like, ew, sports.
Well,
no.
so imagine this. More than sports is old, right? It's for old people, old stupid people who like watching their traditional TVs and going to
I don't
actual
I think that's
places.
true, but go on.
Bruce plays
Esports
sports.
with your stupid goggles on would be dope as hell. Imagine that, like, you can fly through a stupid MOBA match of people shooting their lasers everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, that
So-
would be really cool.
Like, because traditional sports rely on a traditional camera. So you're fixed to a point in space and you can look around, sure.
Yeah.
But if you are in a virtual competitive match, you can control where you are. So you can follow the play and look around yourself. And I think that's kind of where it's going to go. And then maybe you can also simulate, like, being in the crowd with a bunch of other people with their stupid helmets on, like, all cheering and
Well,
slowly dying because you haven't eaten in 24 hours.
It all comes down to scarcity. So if there's an event you cannot go to, but they're saying, but there's an alternative. If you want to see the Super Bowl from this box seat, it will cost you $200, and you got to buy this headset. Is that cheaper than buying a plane ticket from
Yes.
Detroit,
Yes.
getting a hotel and doing all that stuff, and you go,
Why are you in Detroit?
But
I'm just saying, I
here's-
picked a random
okay,
place.
so
No one's
but
in
my thing is, I feel like people don't want to watch the Super Bowl necessarily.
They're in for the
People want
okay.
to go to the Super Bowl to be there for the Super Bowl. It's the same with Super Bowl parties. They're huge. They're popular. Everyone watches the Super Bowl when it's on, except if you ever go to a Super Bowl party, no one's watching the Super Bowl. They're interacting with this socialization aspect of the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I mean, I totally think the option's open for a yes, but I don't think that people are going to be like, yeah, give me, like, once the tickets sell out for the event and you can't be there, I don't know that there's going to be a clamoring for people saying, like, I'll do anything to be there, even put a thing over my eyes and sit in my chair.
well, what about that guy who goes, or guy or gal from, in our town, we see this a lot because everyone's, a transplant. They'll go to that one bar that's showing the Eagles game. What if there's someone who can't find that, where they're like, I need to find my group of people that I go out and drink with. There's like, well, there's no bar here showing the Browns game. So I found a different way. And I strap this thing on, and it's got like a live chat, and I can see what all my fellow fans are, as the Browns inevitably lose, but they can at least talk about it.
I mean, this also assumes we can do live broadcasting.
Why couldn't you?
I don't know. Why? How would you?
You can already stream to a PC. It's just a different kind of display.
Live broadcasting of an event, you would need a camera in the place where you're sitting.
Well, that's why I'm saying a digital event would be easier.
Yeah, a digital event I get, but like the Super Bowl, they're like if you had a box seat, but then it would be you alone in a box seat, kind of the same way that they have an Oculus Rift program where you sit alone on a couch with a screen in front of you.
But what if they give you like a virtual champagne and a whole bunch of hype men over here being
blowing you. Whoa!
Wow.
Like that way you get everything you could possibly want out of a sporting event.
Maybe there you go.
If money's involved and all it
champagne,
costs,
right? That's what people drink at sports.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Right,
we're many steps away from getting to the point where we can replace the socialization aspect, which I think is a major draw for
people are already.
sporting
Yeah,
events.
some people are already antisocial.
Like Twitch chat has become like the bar people hang out in after school sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't think people are. I don't think people that are going to the Super Bowl are staying home because they're like, I have Twitch chat, so I don't need to go.
You're right.
I can't speak for the mass amounts of people, but I'm sure there's plenty of people who just want to watch the game. I would assume, or otherwise it wouldn't be that big of a business.
Well, except that there's all those other people there, and that's part of it.
I would guess traditional sports probably not, but esports is
Esports,
already
yes.
more popular with the younger crowd. And
Esports, yes, but I don't know about setting up a 3D Oculus roto camera within the arena of the Super Bowl. I don't know if people are going to be dying to do that, or
I'm not even into sports, and I think I would be into that.
An EDM, but that's why you're not. I would say that probably makes sense. You're not into sports. You are into that because you like that aspect of it. Whereas I think most people that are into sports like the aspect of going there with their buddies, and there's a touchdown, and they're like freaking out or whatever, or they're getting drunk, or they're doing all these things that are associated with sports. I mean, think about all the fucking soccer riots and stuff. That happens for a reason. It's because of the socialization that human beings do at those events. I don't know.
That has some cool implications though too, because even if you're floating above a sporting event, maybe you can still get the breakdown of the plays, with the arrows, so that if you're as clueless as I do, you still have an idea what's happening.
Well, they tried that with hockey and just regular television broadcasts, where they put lines all over it, and then they realized everyone hated it, so they got rid of it.
Do they still highlight the puck? I remember that was...
No, I don't think they do that anymore. People were pissed off, so they basically were like, well, we're just going to project ads onto we're going to use that technology to project ads. I could see a scenario where you and 5 of your friends all have Oculus Rifts on and are watching games, so that way you can still socialize with one another on the couch. Like, oh my god, did you see that? But I still think that's...
You just reach over and start
That's weird. I think
and
those people would
stop.
Yeah.
Who did that?
What are you talking about?
All right, we're coming down to our last 2 questions.
Yeah, just skip to the last one there.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is from ADGOBAD. Agabad. Can I get an audio-only version so that doesn't screw my data plan?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Oh.
Nice segue. Natural segue.
Is this in relation to the podcast?
No, to Oculus Rift.
Okay.
Yeah, audio-only podcast.
Audio-only version of Oculus? Okay.
So we're working on getting the RSS feeds for a podcast feed up. So it'll be on iTunes and all your subscription services soon. I don't know exactly when, because it's kind of dependent on a few other factors that I'm not explicitly in control of. But
mostly.
Yeah, a lot of the wind. The wind has to blow the bits in our direction.
Getting a podcast up and running isn't as easy as just pulling a lever, unfortunately.
My brother's roommate did it.
Yeah, your brother's roommate also only had one podcast. Rooster Teeth at this point has 18, 19? So,
and we're the 20th.
That seems snide, sorry.
Yeah.
I enjoy all Rooster Teeth podcasts, and hopefully this will be another addition to the family.
Hopefully, yeah.
Not like the smelly one that comes every Thanksgiving, and everybody can't wait for him to leave.
Time for it to get awkward.
Soon, though. I would guess within a week.
Yeah. Working on it.
We'll want to see those flip-flops, Lucky.
Yeah, and if you if you like the podcast, let us know, and tell your friends, please. We would like to do more podcasts because they're fun to do.
They are.
They're great. Cool. Well, thanks for listening to this stuff, guys. We're doing E3 all next week. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
YouTube.com/E3. Make sure to go there and watch us do our thing.
He is wearing flip-flops.
Booyah.
Oh yeah.
Man, money
good
made
news
him
is-
go crazy.
You know why? It's because he's used to staying at home, putting his Oculus
Yeah.
on, and just going to the conference.
He thinks he's
virtually.
wearing an Oculus Rift right now.
We gotta count our blessings though that at least he's not wearing like split-toed socks with
Oh.
flip-flops.
Birkenstocks.
Wait, they make socks specifically for wearing with sandals?
Oh, they make ones that have just the big toe cut out.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Like ninja
that's the thing.
socks.
that's awesome.
Like ninjas.
Ugh. All right, thanks, guys.
Anyway,
Keep your toes cozy.
Thanks for your questions.
Mark
The
Zuckerberg has
future
gotten to him.
is now.
Bruce Toxic Ass.
Oh.
Do you
That's my ass.
have any theories or predictions to make about the game, such as story, time, setting, features, or themes? I'll post my theory as a reply to this to avoid it being too long. He's saying his theory is that you lived in pre-war, you're in pro, so yeah. Oh, Lawrence wrote that part in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
He put in his brackets his own thought process.
Gotcha. Was it who was saying it in the room that it might be? I think I saw those. Hey, we're all back from E3, and we're going to talk about it
tired.
here on the FAQ cast. We're not calling it that, not cast. We're just saying
Fat cast.
Fat cast.
I don't know what we're calling the show. We're going to answer your
We're a
question.
couple of fat casters.
And I'm in charge of the gaming now.
Good job, Joel.
Joel walked up and his eyes lit up and he said, "Ooh, Lego! I can play Lego."
Yeah.
You want to talk about what we're doing here?
Yeah. So it seems like this E3, people were happy with all the normal games, but they really want the old ones all over again.
Seems like it.
And we were a little downery on that. We didn't quite celebrate them with the universal joy that a lot of people on the internet did.
We think it was still a good E3 though.
Yeah,
Still really
I
exciting.
guess let me preface this whole thing with I would hope
Virgil.
that we collectively get excited about games more than most of the games industry. Games excite us. We like to play stuff. We don't like to set our expectations too high so that we are not ultimately disappointed. I think that's a big problem is in this world right now is hype.
Okay.
And a lot of people hype themselves up. We look at everything and go, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll reserve judgment.
Call me when I can
Yeah.
plug a controller into it.
I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to say it's good or bad now until I have my hands on it. Then I will form an opinion then.
I'm gonna judge it now.
Okay, there we are.
So in that spirit, we had not many, but a few people kind of be mad at us for not being happier, which is a weird thing to say, but it's 2015, so there you go.
Also, we've been to a lot of E3s. We're bitter old men at this point.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge that. You don't have to like it.
I was
We
gonna
should
say-
get to the
acknowledge it.
question.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, we
I
can talk
basically
about this
threw it
all
out
day.
there. You guys
All right.
ask us. and
Okay.
We get mad.
Kovic's Fist, first question. Do you think remakes come around because popular demand or from pressure to put out a game? If a game company is pressing a game remake, the easy option would be a remake rather than a new IP. Okay.
What?
So
That-
I
the
think
phrasing
he's
of the
asking
question is a little
like,
confusing.
okay, so to paraphrase, this is how I understand the question. What's the motivation for a new game? And he seems to be under the impression that publishers say, developer, you need to give us a game in 2015 or we'll be mad at you. And the developer's like, well, we could spend all this time looking at a dry erase board and coming up with new ideas or just remaster one of our old ones. I'm not sure the flow kind of exactly works like that. Typically, this is my understanding, I'm not a developer, but I've talked to a few of them. And the vibe I get and the narrative I keep hearing is developers want to make what they want to make, but if they can't get that approved, they'll make whatever they can get paid to make. So if they're pitching an idea and no one's picking it up, sometimes to keep the lights on, you have to pitch the idea that will get picked up, and sometimes that's a remake because of market factors that prove it will be profitable.
The only thing I can think of, like you said, no one in this room is a game developer. The only way I can think of...
Speak for yourself.
Oh, you game developer, Joel?
No, he just doesn't want to speak for everyone else in the room.
I'm saying if I was put into that position, and say Halo 2 is like a good example. They're like, remake this game. I'd go, well, okay, it's already done. There's a template laid before me, and I can go online and read what people like about this thing. Okay, it's not cheating, but it's giving you a head start. So it's like, okay, I think that's an easy form of it. So if given the option of that, or make an all-new IP where you're a woman in a post-apocalyptic world with robot dinosaurs, we go, I think I'm going to try the one where I already know what's going on.
Well, I mean, also you have to consider these are video games, so like things like assets that are pre-existing assets, it's always easier to go back and like up-res pre-existing assets than it is to create a whole new thing, new concept art for a game. It's just simpler, right? Am I crazy?
I don't know.
I think
I
it's
don't know
a
how
different.
hard concept art is.
I think it's a different kind of work. It's difficult to go into somebody else's work and revamp it and make it better when you weren't the one who made it. And a lot of these remasters get
get put on different companies than made the original game. So it is challenging to dig into like a code base, and there are certain assumptions that were made at the time that you have to completely redo in order to make them run at certain frame rates or on certain engines or certain platforms. So it's not as trivial as just like turning it, like dragging up the sharpness slider in Photoshop. I think there is a large amount of work that goes into those remasters that people don't quite appreciate, nor do they really need to. But I do think it's hard work. It's just a different kind.
Interesting. All right, next question from the King Eddie. How long before game remakes become old and outdated and warrant another remake?
Remake.
Yeah, haven't they remade Final Fantasy, like different versions of Final Fantasy VII, a bunch of different
Seven
times?
has never
That was
really
the
been remade.
that was
It
the
was on
most
PC.
requested, but also
That is-
there's no
was on
there's no
PC.
real way of measuring the request number.
4, 5, and 6 have been up-resed a few times. I don't think it's ever gotten to the. I don't think it's ever gotten so cyclical that a remake has been remade specifically. More that a game has been re-released a couple of times on a few different platforms, and those versions are all different.
I think
Yeah.
things like services like PlayStation Now are trying to future-proof themselves for those things, where they can just say, "We'll just throw it on a server and you just stream it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you have that hardware sitting on a rack somewhere, sure,
Yeah.
that works.
And then even Bethesda with mods coming to consoles, those sorts of things. I think I don't think anyone's going to get to the point where they're going to do a re-release.
Well, like Tetris has been re-released on everything since it came out. Do those count as re-releases? It gets a little murky. I think
I get, yeah.
remake doesn't change the core of a game. All it does is kind of brush off the dirt and make it more appealing to audiences that have certain expectations given market trends. I think a good game is always a good game. Actually, there's a qualification to that, but we'll get to that later. It's a different question.
This is an interesting question. That guy Jim, what are your thoughts on Sony running Shenmue 3 through crowdfunding rather than funding it themselves? Surely a big-time player such as Sony wouldn't need to use a service such as Kickstarter for a game.
You would think so.
So
Lots
here's the
of
thing.
theories on this
Here's
one.
the thing. I don't think that they need to. Shenmue is a game that's going to cost a lot more than $2 million.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Even if they're just making a shoddy little, like something that's basically a downloadable game, it's still going to cost a lot more than $2 million.
Yeah.
So
So
why
Kickstarter?
why Kickstarter? I'm not sure. I mean,
Well, I've got a theory.
it's basically like, all right, well, we can already tick off $2 million from the profitability of this game or whatever it goes to. Like, we can already put it there. So
I think it's kind of like I was saying before. The way traditional game development works is you have to cut a developer a very big check and hope that you make that money back 2.5 years later. And what the fuck are you guys doing?
just like in the movie.
So it's publishers specifically only want to fund things that will make their money back. It's like the movie industry, and this is where you get the problem of like homogenization. People see a game work when it's got a dude with a gun on the cover, and so you come to them with your design that doesn't have a dude with a gun on the cover, and they're like, okay, well, we'll fund this, but put a gun with a dude on the cover. So you make certain concessions. So part of your game is there, and part of it has compromised to get it done. I think this is, Sony said, we're interested in this. We understand there is a part of the internet that wants this a lot, but we don't know how big that is, and we can't tell if this is just a vocal minority. So if you get them to demonstrate intent to us in a very public way, then we'll be willing to fund it on maybe a sliding scale based on how much you can raise directly from your audience.
There's a similar story that actually works parallel to the gaming industry that works in Hollywood. I used to work in casting a long time ago, and
Here we go.
No,
the casting story
When
again.
the bits are jiggling, you can build them.
so
I'm
one
trying
of
to
one of the actresses who came in was the girl who played Maybe from Arrested Development. She was not right for the role at all. It was like a horror film, but she came in, did okay read, wasn't anything crazy. The only reason she came in was she was on Arrested Development, and the person who was doing the casting was like, I'm a huge fan of Arrested Development.
Wow.
I want you to come in. Arrested Development got canceled, wasn't getting enough viewership, all that stuff, but it was loved by people within the industry. So I can see a version of this where Shuhei Yoshida is like, I'm a big fan of Shenmue. Unfortunately, my bosses look at numbers and spreadsheets all day, and they go, Shenmue equals no money, equals failure, death of Sega. And he goes, but if we can, like exactly what you're saying, we'll bring you on stage, we'll give you the most eyeballs, we'll give you every possibility, and we'll set a reasonable number, $2.5, $3 million. That's enough just to get a prototype going. We'll go from there. And so, and like, in that case, I'm kind of interested in
I
it.
would
Like,
theorize
okay.
they probably already have a prototype. I would say Yu Suzuki has a prototype. He showed it to Sony, and he was like, "Look, I can still do this. I can still direct big projects." And he has this playable prototype, and he's like, "I need $20 million and 2.5 years to finish this."
Oh my God, PT is is Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
You guys,
We did it.
we did it.
We did it.
PT coming to Wii U.
So if anything, I look at Kickstarter as not so much like people love black and white. They love to just see the simplicity of it all. Of like money equals game. I did thing. It happened. It's like no, there's so many different conversations happening, so many different struggles, so many different hurdles that are happening that you will not see. But if Sony can paint this pretty picture in a very simple, keep your crayon within the lines, and you'll understand this, then it looks good from a PR move. And it's just sort of like, look what we did for you. When in reality, there's a much bigger deal being cut.
And sometimes for us working creatively, I feel like we can empathize with this at least. A lot of the times you'll want to do something and you'll know it'll work and you have the data to say that it will work, and you present that to the person who could say yes or no, and for whatever reason they just go, nah, no thanks. So then you have to be like, what do you want to see? What will make you say yes? And then you go out and make that happen so you can do what you want to do.
Perfect examples at the last job when we started selling T-shirts and we just said, screw it, we'll just put it up on Society 6 on. Hold on a minute, there's money here.
Wait, shirts? We
Yeah.
never thought of that. Thank God I thought of it.
Next question from ZZ Man. Are you guys excited for The Last Guardian, or do you think Team Ico missed the hype train by continually pushing the release date back? Well, they never pushed the release date back.
They never had a release
There never
date.
was one.
Yeah.
There still isn't one. Wait, is there? Did they say 2016?
I think
It did say
I think it said
2016.
2016.
Yeah, they never actually.
Okay.
But yeah, they weren't. It wasn't like every year like it's coming. If anything, it was sort of like, is this thing even happening?
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
I'm excited for Last Guardian. I'm
I'll-
still very excited for Last Guardian.
I never played The Last Guardian. I know very little about it.
No one has.
You mean like the other two
Well,
Ico
I
games?
mean, yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus, Ico,
But
Ine.
I will say,
no,
there's
no.
stuff over here.
Gotta punch that dinosaur off the wall.
Wait, punch the dinosaur.
We're playing Lego Jurassic Park.
We're trying something where we
Parkour.
play games together while
Yeah.
we do it. It's
So Joel,
amazing.
do you
Who
want
would've
The
thought
Last
of it?
Guardian?
Yeah, like I thought it was pretty cool looking.
You don't own a PS4.
No, but there were
Last Guardian
there were a
machine?
few things that I thought were interesting enough in the show to say like, oh, maybe I will buy a console for some of this stuff.
It looks like a really nice blend of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. Like they're using different mechanics from both, and if it's anything like the last two games, they're all kind of within the same universe, which is always kind of interesting. Not that the story's
Yeah.
that important, but it looked like for what it was, it looked like a pretty simple game.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
Well, I mean, this kind of we've discussed story and our complicated relationship with story and games several times in various podcasts. But I'm excited for this because I feel like that if it's anything like their other games, there's not going to be any dialogue. It's not going to be sitting through a sequence where someone says like, "This is your relationship with this animal. You love it because it saved you from a fire when you were 12 or whatever." Like, it's not going to tell you these things, but I feel like you're going to establish the relationship as you play through the game, right? Like, I think
their
it's
style.
to be really subtle and really cool.
I thought, like I said, like Ico's, the escort mission aspect of it added some. There were some interesting parts to it. Shadow of the Colossus did away with that. It was more of like really interesting boss mechanics. And now there is, I think they found the perfect blend because the sort of idea of like the do they have a name for the creature? What it's called?
He's
I guess
the Guardian.
he is the last Guardian. So the
Yes.
Guardian like needs you and you need the Guardian. Like I like this relationship that they've built. Like it looks. I don't know. Like I'm into it. It looks really cool.
I do wonder, throughout the course of the game, how many of these intense situations are going to boil down to a block pushing puzzle, and then some kind of increasingly contrived reason for to scale 6-inch human being to help this giant monster.
But it's so pretty.
If it's a- but
It's sort of like the Portal conundrum.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
if at its base level it's a puzzle game, I'm kind of okay with that.
Cool
You
with
know?
that too. I'm cool with that too.
Yeah.
It's just people are expecting the Citizen Kane of gaming, and I'm not saying it's not going to be that because Team Ico has tugged at heartstrings in the past. I just wonder if people are expecting the next level, and I think it'll just be the next game.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh well.
Okay. Next question from Aroused Dentist. Do any of you actually care for a remake? Do you see yourself going back and playing the game on a new console PC just because it's been remade, or is it just not something that you find fun? That you find fun.
I find remakes they're just an excuse to play a game you liked again. And if you don't feel that tug to go back and play it again, you don't need to.
As far as remakes go, I think that I almost prefer always having a situation where you didn't need the remake in the first place. So you have the game on Steam,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And you
then
have
it
it
scales with
forever.
PC tech.
You have it forever, and it's always there. And we've gotten into situations where we've gotten games on Steam that don't play in the right resolutions for us to record, but you can still play the game. And I would always prefer a situation where you don't have to worry about a remake coming out because whatever platform you owned it on is just allowing you to have it basically in perpetuity. That's what I want.
Well, those platforms still work. My Super Nintendo still works.
Yeah, but you have to get out a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, you gotta bust out the hardware. But I think that's also, like Adam was saying with PlayStation Now, I think that's sort of a relic of the times. Being hardware dependent, Will. What the hell? All right, you're archaeologists.
It's that thing that shoots the
lead slugs.
I rarely go back and play old games. I can't even think of the last time I did it. It's normally because, and this goes back to me being excited about the games industry, there's too much good stuff coming out.
There really is.
Batman's next week, and I'm hearing good stuff about that.
I have a week to finish Origins.
Yeah, hurry up.
I'm not gonna
Actually, I don't think you have to
Origins
finish
is before.
I like Origins though. I want to finish
But
it.
it's before though, so
it's
you
really good.
can come back to it. I'm just
That's
saying
true.
you can narratively come back to it if you
It
want
doesn't
to.
even feel like the same narrative. We're getting sidetracked. I don't know.
Either-
I feel like it's.
Either way, I'm just saying I've got a handful of games to the left that I'm like, I should probably play the newer stuff so I can say a bit more,
Yeah.
keep up and play relevant. I always kind of cringe when I see those guys on Reddit or like on our gaming and be like, look at this Super Nintendo I found in a trash heap. It's like, good for you,
Yeah.
I guess. Like,
Remember those games?
yeah, he's like Saturday Night Defined, and it's like, ugh, like, okay, I guess.
Well, I mean, sometimes I'll have a drink or two and I'll be like, I want to play DJ Hero right now. And that's when I bust out my controller and the disc and set it all up, and it takes like 20 minutes. And honestly, I think that level of investment for just satiating nostalgia is pretty fine. It's okay. Just keep it in the closet. Bring it out when you want.
Just also don't
yourself
forget
awesome
that there's
all
this
the time.
awesome shit coming out right now.
Yeah. There's too many good games now.
Yeah.
Like Lego Jurassic Park.
Like Lego Judge Dredd.
This is Rob Moden. Rob Moden. Why do you think game remakes and remasters are given a certain pass compared to the vitriol that can greet remakes in other media?
I think it's because it's almost always the same thing exactly again.
Yeah.
Like they don't touch it. If a movie remake involves recasting, finding a new writer, shooting it with a new director. Like I can't think of many. Is there a situation where an artist, like a director's remade his own film?
Yeah.
The dude.
Star Wars.
I mean, the best examples
yeah,
I can
you're
think
right.
of are El Mariachi to Desperado
Yeah.
and Evil Dead 1 and 2.
There's the guy who. What's that movie with Michael Pitt, where he like basically harasses a family? Funny Games. Funny Games
Never saw it.
is a really weird movie, but the director remade it like as an American film. But it's basically no one had a problem with it because it was basically the exact same thing, but now English language.
Wasn't there like a
true.
Korean
Well, there was like the host was never Old Boy.
Old Boy? Was Old Boy the same director?
But everyone hated
No.
it
Yeah.
because it was
It was
it
like
wasn't
obligatory,
it,
basically.
it wasn't the same
Or-
director. It was Spike Lee did the
Was-
remake and
was
everyone hated
The
it.
Ring directed by the same
I'm trying to think of a
guy?
video
No.
game where a game was made.
Well, a lot of game remakes aren't directed by the same studio either.
No, but they're the same. They're the same thing. Like
you're right. The
people,
mechanics are
but
the same.
the different. I think a more comparable situation is when they're like, "We're making Devil May Cry, starting it over as DMC."
Right.
You know,
Okay.
and they've changed the design and they changed thing, but it's like still clearly the same idea and the same concept, but it's different now, and people react venomously to it just naturally. I think that's across mediums.
Interesting. Okay. This is from Gerardo Blackmo. Oh boy, there's a wall of text.
You don't need to do the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll read it. Could you give your best description of what Shenmue is all about? I would mention that I never played Final Fantasy VII or that I'm not properly versed in rare content, but I never once heard of this game before the conference, and seeing people's reactions to it and watching the E3 scenes that only make it look like a dating sim, again, because I have no idea what it is and only just heard of it. Leave me so in the dark. Oh, so yeah, it's a very long sentence.
So he doesn't know what
Wrong.
Shenmue is.
Leave me so to continue in the dark. I feel like looking at myself wouldn't do it justice to what these apparent professional hype fanatics could give me.
First of all, you're a
Okay.
dirty casual, and you shouldn't be considered a gamer for not knowing what Shenmue is.
How dare you even comment on
How
the channel?
dare you, sir?
Go back to Candy Crush. You guys see that Fallout Shelter game? So good.
Yeah.
It beat Candy Crush.
It's
a mobile game.
I
Chill
just
out.
think-
Personal rant. I know someone very close to me who has been attacked
Thank you, James.
because of her lack of enthusiasm. Her lack of enthusiasm over Shenmue. Not that she isn't excited.
That's
She's
absurd.
just like she didn't freak out.
That's outright absurd.
How
And
dare
has
she
been
be
considered not
professional.
an actual gamer. So this person must be. Have you ever even played a game before in your life? No, Shenmue doesn't fucking matter.
I'm okay for people to get excited about things.
Yeah.
When you are, whatever you do in your private life, I do not care. you and your friends want to jerk each other off because something's kind of cool. If you're in a professional atmosphere, whether it's I don't care if you work at a McDonald's, I don't care if you're a babysitter. Like, if you have a job,
They're breaking your chicken nuggets.
have
Oh, they're breaking my 80s chicken nugget.
have some decorum because people will look at you.
If they announced Psychonauts 2, I would be thrilled.
Right, but-
I would be thrilled, but if Joel wasn't crying at that announcement, I wouldn't be like, "What's your problem, Joel?"
Because Psychonauts is not the same level as Shenmue.
Yeah, it's above it.
I remember, I mean, there's video footage of it, but last year, the most excited I think I got was when they announced the PS4 remake for GTA, or the Upres, whatever, port for GTA 5. And I grabbed Bruce's
That was
leg,
really fun.
and it was more of like, we can finally, like, it's finally good, like, it's not going to look like shit, because we're playing GTA every day.
Yeah.
And I was sort of just like, yeah, like, cool, but I didn't, like, rub my dick in his face. Like, it was weird.
crying.
Maybe you should.
Either way. Oh, so explain why anyone should
Yeah.
give a shit about Shenmue.
So to your question, Shenmue was pretty groundbreaking for its time in
Yes.
certain ways. The goal of Shenmue was to create a living world that you walked around in to solve like a murder mystery, basically. Some dude rolls in, punches your father to death.
Mondi, no!
And he just pieces out with a dragon mirror. You don't know what it is. So you take it upon yourself to try to figure out what Londi's all about. And you do this just by kind of walking around this somewhat authentic mid-80s Japanese town.
And this is a game that came out in 1999.
99.
Okay.
99, 2000.
Well,
It pioneered a lot of things. Like, it pioneered, like you said, it recreated basically an entire Japanese town from a very specific time period.
just like a bunch of really low-key, quirky elements. Like, dudes would just kind of hang out on the street and talk to you. You could, like,
There was
go
like
into gas stations and, like, use quarter vending machines and get all these, like, stupid capsule
There was a
toys.
clock, time
Yeah.
would pass, and there would be weather and different things like that. All really pretty.
And this is why people are excited about the game being remade, is because the stuff that they introduce is in every other game now.
That's
the
my
problem.
confusion. It's like, these things exist. Like, GTA 5 for me is like the perfect game that does that. Where it's like,
Yeah.
there's a moving clock, but it doesn't move in real time. And if I want to make money, I can knock over a bank. I'd rather do that than go work down at the docks for a week, so I can get on a boat to find out who's
But
still
yeah, by the
there.
way, you
understand.
have a job in that game.
I
Here,
think were we supposed to put everybody else in the cars and get them to come here?
I understand the enthusiasm. I have no idea.
Stupid game.
I understand the enthusiasm for wanting to finish the story because, I mean, even when it came out, it was basically pitched as like this trilogy, like an epic. Though, if you know anything about video game history, anytime you pitch a game as an epic unfolding over, bless you, as an epic unfolding over several games, you're gonna get stuck never finishing the story. Like that's almost always how it happens.
What was the game? Advent Rising
Yep,
or something like
that's
that?
immediately what I was thinking.
Because I remember it was that in Psychonauts 2 that basically put Majesco out of business. I'm sorry, Psychonauts 1. There was never Psychonauts 2. But I remember that where they did come out like, music by Tommy Tallarico, a story better than Halo, 3 epic trilogies, epic space. We're out of money.
Yeah.
Shit. Like, because no one bought
That
it.
was their ticket in
Here, get in the
AAA.
car.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate.
I'm
So,
always so fascinated by that's cute. I'm always so fascinated by people who don't understand these like games, and then better yet, like they watch some gameplay of it and they're like, how is this even remotely something that people are getting jazzed about? Because I think that does kind of, it should speak to a legitimate worry, which is that what made these games special was tech or production value, and that stuff doesn't scale. Like, tech and production value is no longer impressive today.
we're also having this conversation that there seems to be a I see this kind of more in, I guess, kind of the video game communities and other places, but there's this sort of thing of white people, it's always white,
Okay.
who kind of
Racist.
identify with Japanese culture,
Oh, yeah.
and they're like, I eat with chopsticks, I have a bento box, and I am cultured.
It's
because
pronounced anime.
I'd rather play Shenmue than a dirty casual American game like Grand Theft Auto. I was like, well, the guys are from England. Like, I don't need this.
I was just starting to like be like, Akira's pretty fucking sweet, and then playing Shenmue, which lets you wander around in Japan as a Japanese guy. I'm not gonna like. There was a bit of a fantasy element to that.
I'm saying you're allowed to appreciate other cultures, but don't act. I don't know. It's like, unless you live in Japan and are fluent in the language, and maybe your dad helped develop the game. Like, I don't know if you're allowed to speak on behalf of the community.
I also gotta admit, like you like Assassin's Creed's games because they let you wander around in foreign places. There was a bit of a digital tourism aspect to it for me too. Like you go to small town Japan for the first game, you go to mainland China, Kowloon for the second game, and just kind of like wandering around those digital cities and like
Sure.
hearing the chatter they put in and stuff. It was fun.
But would you say Assassin's Creed does that better now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can get on the roof.
Absolutely. At a higher resolution. Yeah.
Well, Assassin's Creed is very much a game too. Like
Yeah.
it's not just a touring simulator.
You're right.
And again, to Shenmue's credit, it was an excellent prototype.
Yeah.
But we don't necessarily have to get jazzed when they're like, we're releasing the Model T, guys. Like you can drive Model Ts around the streets.
Yeah. It's like, did you improve the gas mileage?
We don't know yet. We have no idea. But take my money. Here's $2.8 million.
Next question from the Real Me 99. Do you think there are still too many remasters or HD collections coming out? When can we reasonably expect new IPs for the new consoles?
We just got
Yeah, we got
some.
a few.
Yeah, we
there's
got a lot.
some really
great-
fucking
Honor
good
was
ones.
fucking awesome.
That was one of the things I really liked about E3 this year is how many
Yeah.
new IPs there
I
were.
thought they kind of
Joel and I are all about. We call us the Horizon Boys. We're the Horizon Boys now because
Yeah,
that
me.
game looks super balls and
Horizon.
fun.
yeah.
Horizon looked really cool.
Yeah.
I kind of dispute that these are coming at the cost of new IP. I think as long as a product is viable, publishers will fund it and it will get made.
I think I'm okay. So a good example is basically any like Bethesda game. Basically, whenever a game came out on older tech and then newer tech has come out, but that game existed at the same time on hardware that was more powerful. Basically, whenever a game came out on Xbox 360 and PC at the same time, it's always like when Fallout 3 came out, it's like PC and Skyrim as well. It's like it's night and day between like the consoles were so old at that
Yeah.
point, and I was always like, man, you like
Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
When they showed the play as like 14 frames a second.
yeah, Mass Effect 1 still looks really good on PC. It scales really well. On 360 it looks like garbage. And it runs like garbage. So I'm always kind of okay where it's like, I understand not a lot of people can afford a PC. They're very expensive. So when a budget console comes out like the PS4, I'm always thinking like, oh wow, people could probably, like if they re-release Skyrim or Fallout, I'm okay with that. Because I'm like, now you can replay it because you're probably kind of used to the console experience, but now you're getting kind of like the PC experience that I had 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So like those make sense to me. I'm okay with that. I guess I think they kind of put the brakes on stuff, and I was actually kind of surprised Bethesda didn't announce like the Fallout collection or the Elder Scrolls collection like re-release. I don't know. They could have, and they didn't. So
Well, I guess in terms of marketing, I guess the good thing about a Fallout collection is like we're going to get people staring at Fallout until Fallout 4 comes out.
that was
But-
kind of the Halo mentality
Yeah,
of Master Chief
but
Collection.
I think Shelter did that for a tenth of the budget and a tenth of the time. So and it's making them a shitload of money, like more than a Fallout collection probably would have. So
Pretty smart.
yeah, I think it's the same strategy. You're just seeing it in a different way.
I am the game. I am the game 13. Do you see the announcement of backwards compatibility on the Xbox One being a hindrance to the developers / publishers hoping to make remaster and HD collections of their games? So much so that they refuse to support backwards compatibility, as it is apparently up to the individual publishers to allow their games to be available. EA has said they will support it fully, but does that mean we will see fewer HD collections of EA games like Mass Effect, for example?
Maybe.
I guess. Did anyone here care about backwards compatibility?
I did.
I did
Okay.
too. It
I
means
did
get
a
to
lot.
take one piece of plastic off my shelf.
Yeah, I very much appreciate that because
I still
like
play 360 games sometimes.
I like having the option to. Just like we were saying, I like having the option to access those old games. My bigger thing is
You guys got to get to it, man. We got to beat this.
I know that.
Just fooling around.
No, I'm moving the story
Yeah.
forward. Joel's exploring
Joel, come on,
dinosaurs.
James. Stop dicking around.
I'm trying to beat up the dinosaurs.
I am all about knowing. Like I know you can do it. Like when they're like, sorry, Xbox One just can't.
I mean,
we just
I gotta be honest.
can't figure it out.
I didn't think they could. The 360 had a really weird processor, and the Xbox One has kind of a normal processor.
Yeah, but
well,
when
it's
you have a
powered
PC,
PC.
when you have a PC
It's-
that
no,
always,
it's
when
AMD
a,
Jaguar.
but when a PC can
You
always
want it.
figure out eventually how to do these things, I'm like, there's got to be a way.
There is a way.
There's got to be a way.
I'm still on a
Sony
impressed.
figured it out. They bought Gaikai and On Live and
Yeah.
said,
because the PS3 was
yeah,
fucking weird.
That was, well, the PS3 had the weird cell processor and all that.
7 cores.
Yeah.
None of which are the same. Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
I was excited about it because one, I like the idea of being able to play old 360 games. I don't. As soon as a new console comes out, I don't
Achievement.
dump my old console and get rid of all my old games because I like having them there. Maybe I want to play them every once in a
I was
while.
thinking more of the downloadable games. I was just thinking like,
Yeah,
I'm
the
like,
arcade.
it's fun to pick up like Castle Crashers or
Pac-Man,
yeah,
Galaga,
that's really it.
Res HD.
Yeah.
A lot of good shit. What are you talking about?
What? No. What?
0-day attack on Earth.
All right, let's
What
chill
are you
out.
talking about?
Blast Core.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that rare collection. Is there a question about the rare collection?
Yeah, there is. Man.
Yeah, James, are you gonna get the rare collection?
I probably am. Yeah.
All right, that's a podcast, guys.
Thank you for watching. Yeah.
I keep having people ask me if like the
School's
rare
here.
collection's worth $30, like $1 1 hour.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
$30 for
Sure.
a
How
billion
about
hours.
one of those games used to
$1
cost twice as much as the whole package, and people say games cost too much.
Blast
$1
Core.
game.
I can finally own Blast Core. Also, Killer Instinct's on it too.
The answer is yes.
Snake, rattle, and roll, baby.
They kind of skirted over Perfect Dark Zero, which is kind of interesting. I was
Oh,
like,
that's on 360.
I thought it was
Also
interesting
bad.
that they showed it at all.
is it not part
Yeah,
of their collection?
Zero's in there.
Zero's in there.
Because
and
it's every game.
Wait.
ever, right?
No, Perfect Dark is. I guess I don't know.
No, Zero's in.
It
They
is?
showed the logo, and I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
I guess
Launch
whatever.
game.
Unless they're working on another one.
Crap achievements. They're all that's multiplayer achievements. What the? Ooh!
Watch out, little Lego truck.
We would get your
physics.
friends to buy it too.
Yeah.
Poor yawns.
Backwards compatibility. Cool. More features for people who bought a thing.
But as to the question, like, will it prevent HD collections from coming out?
I
I don't think so.
No, like I said, it goes back to having that limited tech. Like, if I had to, basically, you're like, I love Skyrim, and they're like, you can play the old crappy version on your old crappy, like the old crappy way you used to play it, or here's a slightly, here's an updated one with mod support. You go, yeah, I'm going. With
Yeah, it's all about it. It's all about. I mean, it's simple, really. And when I say it, it's going to sound dumb, but it's all about incentivizing the purchase. If they add $20 of new content or new features to an old game, and they charge $20 for it, and you like that, you'll pay $20 for it. So
I mean,
It's
having
like The Last of Us remastered.
yeah,
that was a
A year
little.
later, people bought that.
That was
game.
too soon, though. That was.
But
that,
people still bought it.
Sure.
That's what-
there's no too soon. If people pay for it, it's not too soon.
I guess. I felt it was sort of like, huh? Why?
Look at them spinning.
Yeah.
They sold it twice. I mean, I'm not going to criticize it for that. GTA, I think, did basically the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
They were like, all right, it's ready here now. That like it just took a little bit longer to bake over here, so we're just gonna sell you like here, have these buns.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hot
Whatever.
cross buns.
I'm not begrudging it, but I would much rather HD remakes of games that we haven't seen in some time, like in collections and stuff coming out again, as opposed to even the Gears of War Ultimate Edition thing. Do we know how much that costs?
I don't know. I mean,
And it's just Gears of War 1 again.
it's 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah.
Is it 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, it's 1, 2, and 3, and it has like the extra campaign that was in the PC version of Gears 1.
Okay.
I say campaign. It was like an act. It was like 5 levels. It was good
Yeah.
though.
I'm not in a rush to go through Gears of War again.
I
gonna,
am, man. I like Gears 1.
That's fine.
I like Gears 1 too.
I liked it, but I beat it and I played it. I'm like, I'm not.
I played through it on 360.
I guess also the new stuff they showed at the Xbox press conference for Gears 4, I was kind of like, eh. I was not. I mean, kind of, but James and I were having this conversation where saying every Microsoft press show that they've done and Gears of War came out, it was always something big. It was always like, look at the tech being pushed forward, and this one was like a tornado and a blonde dude, and like nothing seemed that. It was underwhelming, and it didn't really get me. Like, I wasn't like, so what's new here?
You
Like,
wanted a shark.
I mean, I understand the angle that they hit it at, which is mysterious. Who are these two characters?
Yeah.
What are they doing, and why is this world that way? But I, like we were saying, generally it is like, who are they doing? Who are those people? What are they doing? And why is there a giant spider that's destroying entire cities and flying through the air?
on
kind
the
of thing?
flip side, Horizon, that was the robot dinosaur one.
That was very bombastic.
Beast.
It was like you got an idea of what this world was, you got an idea of who these characters are, you got an idea of what the enemies are and what the weapons do, and it was like that was all there. That's
So-
how you demo, which is unfortunate. We've talked to devs before where they're like,
I'm glad you brought that up because Cliff, like around Gears 2 era, was complaining about this specific issue, saying that people expect these huge, big, ridiculous sequences in their games. So we make that sequence for the E3 demo, and it ends up being in the game because we can't waste all that time for no content. And then you basically lose. Like, it becomes ridiculous. You can't, like, to have any of the game be consistent, suddenly the entire game gets elevated a little bit. Gears 1 was pretty mellow, pretty relaxed, and pretty somber. And I really liked that tone. But as the games went on, they got bigger, more ridiculous, more silly, more melodramatic. And I'm not saying that's purely because of the E3 demo phenomenon, but that's certainly a contributing factor. So I was really happy with the demo they did for Gears 4, because to me it seemed more thematically similar to Gears 1, which I wanted. So that's
That's
me.
fair.
I didn't get that vibe. I mean, I always thought like they could have probably done a little better with like just a simple trailer, something, anything like the Gears 2 trailer where they're playing that super sad song
Mad
from
World.
Little
True,
Sunshine. I was like, you could have just done that, and like, because I mean, the whole thing with Gears was like, after the Mad World trailer that went out and got everyone hyped, they were like, Gears of War kind of became synonymous with like good trailer music, and like good trailers, like that could have been your throwback.
Sure.
That could have been it, rather than like, and I get it, like show the gameplay, show that it's working. That's fine. I'm okay with that, and like. The game doesn't have to be big and loud. If it's going to be this smaller game, it's like it probably just
approach.
didn't need to be shown.
But then you might run into like the Dead Island problem, where people either misinterpret or maybe get a
Misinterpret
better
yeah.
image of the product than.
Utterly mislead.
I mean, it sold well, so
Whatever
I
it takes to build hype and make that money.
Thanks, Business Spool.
guess Bizpool.
You want to take the next
Pick it up. Pick it up, Joel.
Sure.
It's not letting me.
No, you pick it up and then you follow it because you're a tracker. See?
Mr. Eli writes.
Wait, no, did we?
What, did I skip that one? I did. Shit Show Skier writes, hey guys, do you view the number of remakes that are starting to come out as negative towards the industry or positive? Is it a way for companies to get their older games out to younger gamers, or just a ploy to make some quick money?
Money.
All of the above.
Yeah, it's always money, always. And if it makes money, it's not bad. That means people wanted it, so they bought it. As far as like
Drugs.
creatively what that does to the industry. So I agree with the point that it maybe allows younger gamers to play older games, but I think also it's a good perspective check for older gamers to see that younger gamers are like, oh, this is okay, I guess. I don't understand why you're freaking out about it.
They don't know art.
Sure. So like when people play Earthbound, that's one of my favorite games, but it's hard to play through nowadays, and it kind of forces me to acknowledge, turn-based RPGs are kind of a bad idea.
Well,
they got away with what they could, but
yeah, I mean, Earthbound is also very Earthbound is almost like playing writing down the stats yourself kind of game, because like it's not even the action sequences of Earthbound are just like a thing floating in ambient space.
it's got those cool
and then-
psychedelic backgrounds.
I know it does,
and the good music.
but you can also understand why they chose those psychedelic backgrounds,
Sure.
so they didn't have to animate
Yeah, of
action
course.
and excitement,
Or draw
and
like a
things
number
like
of
that.
16-bit backgrounds.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
wrote some math and they were done.
I think Lawrence hit on a interesting point. We're kind of in a new form of advertising. And what's a better form of advertising than a video game? Another video game. So what we're seeing now, Bethesda's kind of not really leading the charge, but they're doing a good job of it, of rather than hitting you over the head with trailers for 2 years and ideas and all these dev diaries and stuff like that, now they're just going, here's some free advertising. It's a game you can download. It's really addicting. It's a lot of fun. And it'll probably it's going to notify you all the time when your dwellers are around, but also guess what? It's
Hey.
going to let you know when Fallout 4 is
Remember
out.
Fallout? Hey.
Yeah.
Hey. Fallout. Hey.
It's sort of like, it's a more organic way of advertising.
Pre-order yet? Remember Fallout?
I don't know. And so like Master Chief Collection basically served as one giant commercial for Halo 5. Unfortunately, that commercial had a lot of bugs and broken issues. So
Word.
probably,
Burned.
there's two different, there's the Fallout super positive way of making it work, and then there's the Master Chief Collection way of making it not work. So, with that said, though, I'm really excited for Halo 5.
Wait, how do I shoot the gun when I'm aiming? This is dumb.
I have
Probably
no
right
idea.
trigger.
Press and hold, and
No,
then if you
like
target
mouse
something,
over
you
it?
can actually shoot. It doesn't matter.
It
You have
just-
to go
oh,
up
it
to
just
the
auto-does it.
you have to go up to the gate over here and put in the code.
All right, go to the next
Oh.
one.
Mr. Eli, what do you guys think is the main driving force behind the, quote, remake reissuing phenomenon, end quote? Is it lack of effort on the developer side, simply a cashing in on nostalgia, or is it a consumer-driven, most of gamers fall into the 18 to 30 age bracket now and are looking for those old familiar experiences?
I guess we kind of touched on this, but
Yeah.
take morality out of it. This is a product, and if they decide a product will make money, and there's a workforce who wants to create that product, you fund it, it gets made, and then you put it out on the market and it sells.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. There's no conspiracy to drive the creative forces in the games industry. It's driven by the market and what the market wants entirely. So please, that's not maybe true in the indie space, and there are some publishers who are like, we want to make this because it excites us. Like the For Honor guy, he was just pumped to be able to make his game.
Yeah.
And I don't think market forces entered into it for him. He's like, I love swords, I want to stab people with swords,
Yeah.
and that's cool, and please Ubisoft let me make this game. And they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also had a cane for no reason that I could tell.
He
It
looked
was a
awesome.
sword cane.
No,
Yeah.
he said he got in a rap fight with some skydiving ninjas who were on fire. We were
Okay.
joking. He
Like
basically
rap.
he slipped.
Oh,
And
okay.
He injured his knee.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The guy was great though.
Got a cool
He
beard.
was pretty badass.
I think, I mean, at the end of the day, too, I think what's nice about they're between like film and, I mean, what we do, making stupid little internet videos.
Film.
There is a nice blend between
Cinema.
like there's the part you can be creative, you can do your thing, but there is the selling out part, and the part that as long as the selling out part doesn't get involved, or it doesn't get in the way of the creative part too much, and that you have a product that people want creatively.
Robot camel toe.
What?
That's my ultimate selling out.
Oh,
Robot camel toe?
Okay.
Giant tits, robot camel toe.
Oh, okay.
We got this cute sassy AI. Let's put her in some giant tits and a camel toe.
I don't know. I imagine one guy was like, "This is my dream to make this,"
Oh, I'm sure.
and then someone's like, "I guess I can market
I wonder
this."
what wall scrolls he has.
There is a I don't know. There's a balance, and you definitely need to strike that balance. Like Chris Nolan always does it really well, where it's like, look, I need to make a movie for the masses, but I'm going to try to make it as smart as I can and like make it interesting. But I'm going to make entertainment. I'm an entertainer. That's my job.
That's why we use clickbait. You got to get the dummies to click on the video.
I mean, we have the. I think the beauty of it is the gaming industry has room for other things, like No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky. I don't think we're gonna come away from that being like this is like a game, or like, but also like a game. Like it's like it seems like much more of an experiential kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's
love
good.
it.
There's room for
School's
a lot
gonna
of
get
shit.
So high.
Well, it's
going to
be on PC.
I know.
Eventually.
It started what they showed at the press conference looked more like all those survival games we've been making fun of for the past 2.5 years.
There was some of that.
Like
Is there any death in that game?
They never showed death.
No Man's Sky.
I mean, there's
He was
I heard.
he was running
sentries.
Yeah.
No, I was told someone played it. I don't remember who I talked to. Someone played it, and they said that you can die, and then you just respawn back in your ship.
You lose your
with
fish
like
points?
some credit. You like basically like GTA. You lose some of the credits or whatever monetary amount that you've earned, and then you just respawn back in your ship, and then you can do whatever.
Okay. Yeah, we saw some things with like the gun, and there could be a potential crafting system, and like he was like he was shooting rocks, and they were falling out in little pieces, and it looked a little more like voxel based.
So
I was like,
So do you want to see a
Yeah,
lot
it is
more
very
out of it
voxel.
before you play it, or you just want to play it at this point?
I kind of want to just play it. I like the idea of just getting in a spaceship and flying around to different planets. I think that's cool.
All right. Let's see here. Loud Super writes, I might be a little high, but do you think when companies run out of games to remake, they might remake consoles?
Interesting.
They've already done that.
Yeah.
It happens in various ways. Essentially, that's what backwards compatibility is.
But we've seen like the Mega console, which is like it's like a
Oh, yeah.
Genesis and like NES.
Third-party
and,
companies
Retro
do it,
Duo.
for sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
And then like Nintendo has its virtual console with and like Super Game Boy and things like this. It's kind of what it is.
Yeah, you're high.
But it's
I mean, you are high,
You're
yes.
high, but yeah, I know that moment when you're like, I just came up with the, and it's like, and then you go back later and it's like, you could slice bread, and you're like, I guess you could. Good job, me.
Manually?
I'm brilliant.
Kids, stay off of drugs. Don't be like.
No, do all the drugs. An aging gamer writes, as a child from the 80s, I have loved a lot of different games, and if I wanted to play them again, I would get the console or emulator and play them again. Do you feel the reason for remasters or remakes is simply to fool people with shiny graphics, and is it enough to justify the new price tag that comes with the remake?
I mean, you can do that for as long as the technology will allow. You know, right now it's kind of the thing where it's like, I can't find an RF switch.
She loves poop.
You know, I can't find an RF switch. I can't attach like these.
I use Elgato for that because it can actually up-res stuff and play it on normal TVs.
So like that you have a new device that you've had to introduce into the system.
The more time goes by, the more complicated it gets to use old hardware. That's kind of how it goes, and that's just gonna accelerate.
One thing that I would want to say about that is I wish there was a system where you could, if you had the original game or whatever, you'd get a discount on the new one.
Nintendo did something like that.
I think it would be fair. I don't know how they'd really be able to pull it off technically, because it's like I scan my serial number in there.
It has to be in the same system. So like, if you bought something on Wii Virtual Console, it costs like $1 to rebuy it again on Wii U Virtual Console.
Yeah.
Because
that's
mad about
a lot of people's argument with like emulate, or they'll download like emulators, like I think that guy kind of mentioned, is because they're like, I owned it like in the 90s, or I owned it when it was original. I shouldn't have to buy it again or pay for it again or anything like that.
No. I skipped a question here. Spider-Brain, are there certain games/movies that you believe should never be remade because they're so perfect? Yeah.
Maybe not remade, but I mean, I don't think anything's out of the question for like re-releasing.
Well, like
Tetris, it's a perfect game. Basically,
I don't think the original Star Wars should ever be remade. I think it's fine. I think that is a perfect.
Oh, that'd be weird.
I think that's what I mean. It's one of those things where like it's so timeless that you're like, I can't possibly see this being remade. The prequels, on the other hand, I was like, I'm okay with those getting maybe little touched up.
Well, the irony is, after Star Wars, tons of movies tried to remake it. They basically just swapped out the names and
Sure,
and the settings.
I think what he's saying though is like a 1-to-1 remake, like
the Psycho remake.
Yeah. Psycho. That did not need to happen. It was unnecessary. That was Van Sant being kind of like, let's just do this because it's weird.
It didn't, but do you think that it ruined or hurt the original Psycho?
No, that's my thing. Is
I don't
like do
think
whatever
so.
you want. Like it's like you don't have to go see it if you don't want to.
Yeah.
It's an interesting experiment.
It's bullets ruining movies.
Yeah.
Why didn't that happen? Maybe it did, but
What?
Was there anyone when the Psycho remake was announced and they said it was going to be shot for shot, like scene for scene, the exact same movie? Was anyone like, no, this is cheapening Psycho?
Yes, tons of
Okay.
people said that.
Totally.
Yeah,
And
Mario.
now
But they
it's
also forgot
forgotten
about
people's-
Psycho 2 and 3 and 4.
the recycling.
Yeah, and how it didn't actually cheapen the original
Clever.
classic. So.
Well, they kind of did. They elaborated on the character, and everyone fucking hated it.
But you could
yeah.
choose to not watch them.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's like
That's
I,
what I'm
can
saying.
It's
I can
like-
choose to not read
your
fan
thing.
fiction about The Last of Us.
Well, it's like Disney movies, and like the first one or whatever is good, and then they do like the direct to DVD, like 2, 3, 4,
Return of
5
Jafar
of
was
them.
the shit.
There's a couple that are good,
Yeah.
but for the most part, it's like don't even look at them.
The Aladdin television series, the cartoon series,
I
is
remember
really
Starring
it.
good.
Dan
I remember
Castellaneta?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aladdin's the only one I know of that's like
Um,
has a really good.
But also,
following.
I guess, but and those things don't really make
Poop Legos.
the original film better or worse.
Yeah, that's what I'm
it's
saying.
Just,
Like, they're
it's
just
just
there.
there if you want it. I don't know.
If you love Aladdin that much, you keep watching the other ones.
We just gotta not be so sensitive. People gotta make their dollar bills, and if they gotta make their dollar bills by remaking your classics, then that's what they're gonna do.
I don't know who this character is, but I
You
want
did
him
it.
to stay.
I like it.
Oh, you go boo! Do it, Joel. Joel, play as a Triceratops right now.
I'm coming to play.
Do it.
Laura
Can I
Berry
ride
writes, is there any game you would like to see a remake of, or do you feel like a remake would ruin your nostalgic view of a childhood favorite?
It's almost a flip.
So I saw a lot of okay guys, there's one thing you gotta stop doing. When a company announces a remake of a thing, stop trying to prove how smart and cultured you are by saying you'd rather have something else. Just stop it. Like when Capcom announced DuckTales, everybody's like, that's good, but I'd rather have this other 8-bit Capcom game.
Chippendales
Yeah,
Rescue
yes!
Rangers was
Everybody
the better
said
one.
that. Like,
Well, because I got both those games at the same time.
just,
By the way,
stop
DuckTales,
doing that.
the DuckTales remake was awesome. They did
It
a
was
great
really
job
good.
with that game.
So you're
but,
saying they should do Chippendale?
More DuckTales.
but that, as a bit of an aside, I mean, a lot of people were throwing out, but Final Fantasy VI/Final Fantasy IX was the best Final Fantasy. Do that one instead.
What's the name of the bad guy
They'll
from
get
that
to
one?
it eventually. Don't worry.
What's the name of the bad guy
Syl
from? No, he was like a jester.
Oh.
Kuja? Or are you talking about Kefka?
Kefka.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, let's have a full-grown man in a clown outfit be the villain. That's gonna
Yeah.
work in full res HD.
Well, I mean, Sephiroth is dumb too. Like
Sure.
that's the point. They're all dumb.
Yeah.
It's just which dumb you like most.
So kind of going back to the original question, we had this conversation during E3. More Final Fantasy made me not want a Final Fantasy VII remake. Like when they first pseudo announced it for like the PS3, I was like, cool. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite one. I love how it's like kind of anime. They got big swords and stuff. And then they did that.
Advent Children.
Advent Children, yeah. And
Advent Children.
I wanted to, and I watched it, and I was like,
The
oh,
action
so
scenes
this
were great.
action's great. It's fantastic. I agree with that.
Got some motorcycle.
But the more I saw it, and I was like, I really hate Cloud as a
he's awful.
character.
Well,
Yeah.
Cloud was a non-character to start.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like a little bitch in the
He's a
beginning,
moody
that was
Judy.
cool. Yeah,
He's
he was
a moody Judy.
He was a
Yeah.
little sassy asshole, and then just became a non-character for the rest of
And
the
I was
game.
like, I prefer Zach as like, and I get there's the whole thing where
Then you
like,
get to play Crisis Core.
Yeah.
Zack is actually is like the
That's-
coolest character in the
Yeah.
entire Final
Also,
Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII has been pumped dry already. Just a lot of stuff no one played.
air guys.
Yeah, well.
Anyone?
Charge that.
Just me? Okay.
I never
I
played
played
7.
it. That was a fun game.
So, but that's the sort of thing. I'm like, if you
that?
weren't 13 years old in 1997 or however old I was, yeah, I was like, you kind of missed it, and there's really no reason to go back. I mean, like, I'm trying to think of like a better Final Fantasy out there. Bravely Default, I think, is like
Yeah.
a good modern,
Final Fantasy. Lost
Like,
Odyssey was a really good modern Final Fantasy.
yeah, I would say like go play that instead because I don't know, unless you have no access to the outside world and see the advancements that have happened, like like I said, I'll stand by and say Final Fantasy VII was my favorite one. I'm not in a rush to go through and replay. I think that train.
Also, you can you can replay it right now if you want to.
Yeah, it's on
right
PC.
now.
That's
on
how I
PC.
replayed it.
It
looks good.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Well, when that happened, I was like, okay, that's cool.
Daggerfall.
Like, that's really cool that they're doing this after all that time. Even though at this point I was like, it is really feeling like they're just giving us the thing people asked for on Reddit. But regardless, I was like, I hope that they make it a different game. I don't want it to be just those
One for one.
The new
They said it's going to
cutscenes
be a
are.
remaster, not just a remake. So.
But I want it to be a different game. I want it to be not a turn-based RPG. I want it to
may
be.
not be.
Also,
I want it to
Kingdom
be-
Hearts kind of ruined combat and Square games for me because I'm like, this is so much fun.
Yeah,
I want it to be that.
Run away.
I want it to be like Kingdom Hearts, and I want it. You basically play through the whole story in like
What if
8 hours.
what if they did like?
That's fine.
Are you okay? You okay?
I
Spool?
got excited.
No, sorry, go ahead.
What if they did like a Kingdom Hearts style, but with just Final Fantasy things? So you went between the different Final Fantasy worlds, and they were all linked together.
Well, they're doing World of Final
Yeah, they're doing
Fantasy.
Yeah,
or
Final
whatever.
that's like a weird
Let me tell you,
cheating thing, right?
They have
As
Record
somebody
Keeper
who
for
doesn't
mobile.
care about Final Fantasy,
Go on.
that would not appeal to me. But
But what if it
Kingdom
taught you
Hearts,
this
like
story?
Kingdom Hearts, theoretically appeals to me because I like Disney stuff. So I would never
Yeah.
play an all Final Fantasy game. And if you want to appeal to the broadest audience possible, then why wouldn't you just do that?
Minecraft. Final
Well,
Fantasy.
I could be totally
Hey,
wrong.
you
here.
need to come. You need to come. through here.
But I'm almost positive the guy Nomura, who worked on Final Fantasy VII, left after one of the Final Fantasies and worked on Kingdom Hearts. And the combat system was so good just because it was shortcuts to the magic and the potions, and the combat was actually it was real time, and I was like, oh, because I hate turn-based combat. After that's actually part of the reason why
Attack.
It's fun sometimes.
it's some games fine. Bravely Default did it.
I mean, it's
pretty well.
So it's mostly for players that don't have the motor skill or the familiarity with controllers to play a live action game.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes you feel like playing something different.
It's
But
weird because so many people. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
no, nothing.
It's okay.
Either way, I'm saying if it's the same guy, and I'm hoping that going back to that original question where it's say you could remake something, you're like, okay, finally the tech has caught up to what I originally envisioned. If he had thought in those crazy fight scenes in Ed Event Children where Cloud is flying around the sky and stuff, if you're actually controlling that, and
That'd be cool.
there is a Devil May Cry
there was a
type
game
fight
like that.
system.
There was a game like that. It was for Dissidia. Basically was that you would bash people all around, and the control scheme was
Oh,
hold
yeah.
buttons to just laser target onto somebody
Yeah.
and follow them.
Okay.
So you'd be bouncing them around Dragon Ball Z style.
Yeah, it was
That was a
definitely
PS
Dragon
that
Ball
was a
Z
PSP
fighting.
game, though, right?
Yeah.
I borrowed someone's PSP just so I could play that game. It was pretty cool. It was utterly unique. Is
Yes.
the word I would describe.
The other thing too, though, the Final Fantasy VII trailer was a CGI trailer, which is my least favorite way of announcing a game.
Listen to the music, and it's Barrett because he's got a gun.
And
walls
Aerith
aren't very
dies at the
strong.
end.
It's got the little slide from the park where Marlene was.
I want to see what the gameplay looks like. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
I wonder
Because
what the gameplay
until then-
is.
I don't think they know what
Yeah.
that gameplay is yet.
It's weird too because thinking about how the combat in Final Fantasy has evolved over the years and how people feel about it now. Everyone hated 13. But I saw it as kind of a logical progression from where it was and where it is now. But I feel could you imagine if they were okay, well, we're just going to pull a combat system similar to that to make it more exciting and more action-oriented? Do you think that would do better or worse than if they were it is just straight up, just like HD characters, everyone looks like how they looked in the pre-rendered, the cool, good pre-rendered
That's hard to
cutscenes
say.
and stuff.
Joel's looking at his watch. So
No, I'm not. I'm not looking to watch.
We just did Lore Bear, right?
Yeah.
We went on that. We went on that for a
You
while.
can skip this one. We basically answered it.
Okay.
already. So go to the bottom one. Then.
Someone, whoever you are, almost made it into the show.
Well,
but
no,
now you won't.
okay.
Bagzio.
Bagzio, you basically ask, will remakes come at the expense of original games? And I really don't think so.
No,
doubt it.
absolutely not.
Kind of expensive money.
Sequels will always fill that void for people, but then at a certain point you still have to come up with
Are there
new
any-
sequels.
Are there any studios that are just dedicated
Yes.
to doing rematch?
Yes.
I know there's ports companies that do ports, but I didn't know if there's any remastering.
Well, remasters aren't so
Dedicated ones.
legitimate yet that they're or so predictable yet that there are studios that only do them.
That's
but
what we need to do. We need to get in that
Well,
business.
no, there are a few that pinch hit basically for a bunch of studios. So
What was that?
Go.
Deuce us.
when it comes to remaster, typically a lot of that work gets farmed out to a contracting agency because, like you guys were saying, it's you can templatize it to a degree and say do this for this whole folder of assets. Go and do it.
Okay.
So there are companies that do that.
All right. Well, There you go, Bagzio. Dese80, do you feel that remakes of beloved franchises are doomed to disappoint? For example, if Final Fantasy VII remake strays too much from the source, diehard fans will complain, but if they leave all the mechanics and plot untouched, the games would be dated and almost unplayable for new audiences. I like this guy. He gets it.
Good question.
Yeah.
That's what we were just talking about.
That's the balance, right?
So,
Find a new audience or appease the 11 million people who claim they will buy your game again, which most certainly will not.
and this is the problem, because we were saying, like, if you want to play Final Fantasy VII again, it's there. It's on a million platforms. Go play it. But they don't want to because they want to feel like they did the first time they played it.
Which isn't gonna happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could, but ultimately, for me, the way I kind of customize your right here, you're just busting up this lab.
Yeah.
The way that I remember, like,
She's a monster.
to me, the wow behind 7 was like the like cyberpunk city. It's like all mechanized, but still kind of fantasy-ish. It's like the plate and all the smog was pretty cool for a Final Fantasy game.
It was
like
the
dark.
biggest diversion in the entire series.
Yeah.
Like,
and it had like really cool music that was kind of jazzy and down tempo.
Everybody loves jazz.
it was also the first 3D one.
Yeah, and like the pre-rendered backgrounds were really cool. Like everything was kind of glowing and
Omni Slash.
But then I remember, as soon as I left Midgard, I was like, oh, this has become a normal Final Fantasy game all of a sudden. Like, the cool Midgard setting is entirely what I associate with 7, and it wasn't even, it was like a fifth of the...
All those people died when that
that was
plate
pretty
fell.
Cool. Like
Oh,
they're-
yes, that
like
part
big
sucks.
stakes.
Yeah.
And it was like, but when I replayed it again some years back, I realized the thing that I associated with the game was only like the first hour and a half.
Interesting.
I am totally there with. I felt that I ended up really enjoying the whole thing, obviously, like most people did the whole way through. But I did feel like it wasn't a bait and switch per se. But I was like, I can't wait to explore this city. I can't wait to do all this stuff, and then you leave.
Yeah.
And then you're.
And then you
like
hit the world
said,
map, and you go to
it's
other
just like,
fantasy
yeah.
towns that have no tech in them at all, and it's just like a normal Final
Yeah.
Fantasy game.
It's funny too because I'd never played a turn-based game until Final Fantasy VII. That's the first one, and I was so sold on the commercials where they're showing like rocket ships taking off, and they're like the
And that
next
motorcycle sequence.
Yeah, and they're just like the next level of entertainment. Like, yes, this is, and I'm like, I had known about Final Fantasy. I'd never actually played it. All my friends were gushing about it, and I was just kind of like, I think I tried playing the first one on NES, and I'm like, I'm not into this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I do not care for this game at all.
I have a very vivid memory of, I went over to a friend's house, and he was playing Final Fantasy VII. It was his first, and I was like, dude, if you like 7, you gotta check out this. And I like hooked up my Super Nintendo, and I played 3/6. And he took one look at it and was like, this is garbage. And
What do we do?
Well, they also re-released those ones on PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And I think that was between 7. God, the fucking industry has not changed.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
None of this is
yeah,
new.
before 8 came out, they re-released like the old ones.
Also, those re-releases were crap. It had loading screens.
Yeah.
For like a 16-bit game on a PlayStation 1.
Yeah, they basically re-released Super Nintendo games on the PS1, and they didn't change anything, from what I understand.
They added cutscenes.
Oh yeah, that was in there.
They were bad.
But I played it. I remember I bought that, and I just felt so gypped. I was like, oh,
You can't say that word.
Yeah,
gypped.
it's insulting to gypsies.
Oh really?
Yep.
Wow.
Gypsies are going to show up with their smelly caravans.
You a gypsy sympathizer?
They're going to steal
Hey,
our money.
I'm an everyone sympathizer.
I was gonna say, Joel, isn't your family
part gypsy.
Part gypsy? Yeah.
It's
I can
primarily
tell.
gypsy.
Well, guess what?
Primarily, though.
Guess what race I'm gonna start ripping on?
The gyps.
gypsies.
All right, last
race?
question.
Is it the last one?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Good for us.
Right on time, too. From EXXX19.
Cool.
It's an extreme name. Bernie talks about games being unique as an entertainment medium and that the experience of playing games degrades over time. Adam's story of GoldenEye, for example, being a great game at the time but awful to play now. Do you think remakes are acceptable when they bring back old experiences for new generations? What would your criteria be for a game to be remade or remastered? I'm going to take issue with that statement. Not all games degrade. You can sit down in a Pac-Man cabinet and have the same experience somebody did in the late 70s. Tetris also. When a game is made understanding its technical limitations for its platform, it is basically timeless. And the same is true with like movies or music. The problem is... Sorry?
Like
Psychonauts, yeah. The problem is when a work of art relies on... Usually, like, when a work of art relies on tech, that's usually very bad. So games that were very graphically impressive at the moment immediately lose their value because the graphics get better.
Like Crisis 1 or something like that.
Crisis 1 is actually... I think Crisis is a legitimately good game. People disagree.
Would you say that it would degrade over time, though? Probably.
I think Crisis is a good shooter.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that kind of depends on your definition of good shooter.
Or what you enjoyed about it. But if you enjoyed it for the graphics, sure, that wouldn't matter anymore. So like a movie, if a movie relies on CG, like a lot of mid to late '90s movies,
those
they look terrible.
I remember Independence Day in theaters. I was like, oh my god,
They did it.
this is the most realistic thing ever. How did they blow up that stuff? The model still looked good and all that stuff. Years later, it was on television, and I could just see the overscanning and like how badly they actually implemented the CGI. I'm like, this looks like bad sci-fi.
The first Hulk movie with Mark
yeah.
Ruffalo? Not Mark Ruffalo, whatever the old guy was. Eric Bana.
Old guy.
Playing Bruce Banner.
That was really bad.
That was fun.
But then you also have like movies where like the original Jurassic Park movies were these mostly like practical effects, or even like old movies from the 80s like Mad Max and stuff like that. Those still hold up today because it's practical and you don't have all that CGI that kind of makes it aged.
I'm gonna go out on my drug analogy as I do with most things.
Okay.
The first time you do heroin, whoa, blow you away. It doesn't have to be heroin, but regardless, I'm talking about like that first high.
It does have to be heroin.
Well, like you hit the needle and you're like, whoa, and then there are people who try to chase that
It's a little
first.
spool.
Well, people try to chase that first time, and they keep finding like, well, I need it harder, I need it better, and it's like
Chasing that dragon.
video games
You
can
almost got me.
can be kind of similar where like you can't recreate those moments, or like things in like relationships where like we're gonna re-spark that magic, and it's like
and you do the exact.
The marriage is over.
well, I'm saying like
You're not even married.
me.
No,
Not
those.
you.
Oh, sorry. I was
Not you, just in general.
It's like
What?
we've known each other for years, but like a remake is gonna be it's gonna be like trying to force the three-way on the relationship. It's gonna be like it's a cheap version of trying to recreate the magic that you probably will never have.
It's only temporary, short term.
Like because you're never gonna be 12 again. You're never gonna be you're in a position where you're not deprived of money. Maybe you have disposable income. And an N64 in a box just maybe won't do it for you anymore because you've bought so many other things in your life now that like you can't recreate that unless you
buy the rare collection to play Blastcore.
I don't know. It'll never be the same experience. So that's actually one of the things why I like modern games is I still get impressed and excited about new games, and so I'm always like I'm always more excited to find new experiences. Instead of trying to relive the old days.
Nostalgia
Forward.
is a dangerous thing.
Ho!
Gonna play the fuck out of Blastcore though.
The experiences you have when you're younger are imprinted on your mind in a way that they aren't when you're older. So you're always gonna feel like the games that you played when you were younger are more special than the games that you're playing now. Whereas I think, Lauren, to your point earlier of like a 12-year-old playing fucking stupid Final Fantasy or Shenmue or something is gonna be like, what is this? This is
exactly
the
what I
Full
said.
title.
No, I know. But I'm explaining why you said that. Yeah.
I'm going to 10 years from now remember the time I played Lego Jurassic Park with Joel, and we made pretty good progress in the short amount of time that we played the
You
game.
got to the scary part in the movie.
Yeah.
This wasn't scary. This was the sexy part in the movie.
Anyway,
toilet?
I think that is it for this episode
Yeah.
of the Fat Cast.
Should we keep playing Jurassic Park?
We can keep
Should we
playing.
do it? Well, I'm saying, like, should we do it
Something
next
better
time?
happens. Yeah, totally.
Obviously.
I will keep playing. If you guys want us to keep
T-Rex.
playing Jurassic Park, we'll keep playing.
He's
Should you
scared.
get
He's
to
running.
the-
No, I'm talking about the next time
you're
we
right.
do.
Spelling is in the bathroom.
Sure.
Post E3 breakdown.
One of these days, probably when we move offices and we're short on time, or basically time to produce anything. I actually want to do one of these FAQ episodes just free for all. Like throw anything at us,
Oh,
and
yeah,
we'll marathon it
Yeah.
and get a couple hours in. But
We could live stream it, and then people could ask us questions. We'll constantly.
That's
try
true.
to
Then we would
keep up
never
with
be
it.
able to stop.
cool. But that's it for now. Thank you for listening and/or watching.
Okay.
We're gonna head out. We're finally. This is Friday for us, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
we are
right.
desperately trying to catch up on content we haven't been able to produce because we have been at E3 all week.
And the moral of the story is that Independence Day is a terrible movie.
I gotta get my ass
really
on a
bad.
track.
Ah.
Can't wait for the sequel.
Da-na-na-na-na. Independence Day, we will save the earth from
earth.
The squeezy bits in a bra on a thing, and then there was just a video of them they had the Oculus mask on, and they're just doing this.
So the display is just like some lady going like, "Yeah, that's great. You're really nailing it right now, man. I'm hot.
Yeah.
You're the best."
You're
Pretty
killing
much.
me.
I mean, what else?
Just like real life.
What other
Yeah, what
purpose
else?
is there for that game?
That's
It's
right.
Like,
Well,
are
there's-
you gonna play a game where a girl
She-
says no, don't do
She
that?
she very sexually tolerates what you're doing. Yeah.
Right.
Like that's great. She's like looking at me. You want to go eat now or no? Okay, keep going.